All right, a very good afternoon, morning, whatever time zone it is, wherever you are. Welcome to the stream, everybody. It's Captain Abs here with you with another live ATC stream here on the VATSIM network. And if you can't quite tell where we are today we're in Edmonton Center. So we're just trying to get ourselves up to speed here. Looks like we've got a couple of inbounds here, so we're just trying to sort of get organized here. So let me just ping a couple of people here and start talking to some people here. And it's going to take me a couple minutes to sort of get myself organized, so please bear with me. It always does when you first log on. There's lots of stuff going on, and you don't know necessarily what's going on with everybody, trying to get a hold of everybody, trying to figure out what. Uh, let's see here.
Edmonton Center, Pacific Northwest 57 is at flight level 400 for 430.
Pacific Northwest. Sorry, that was Pacific Northwest 57?
Yep, Pacific Northwest 57.
Pacific Northwest 57, Edmonton, hello, squawk code 0171.
0171 for Pacific Northwest 57.
All right, so we're going to go 17s in Calgary today.
Center, Canada 192, with you at 10,000 feet.
Air Canada 192 Toronto, hello, Squawk Cadet.
Edmonton Center, very good morning. Pacific Northwest 58, we are climbing 230 for 360.
Air Canada 192 to Edmonton, thank you. You're identified 11,000 descend, now 6,500. Which approach are you planning? Air Canada 192 Edmonton, you're identified descending through 10,400. Which approach are you planning?
Oh, we're looking to pick up the ILS for 17 left.
Air Canada 192, check you're looking for the left side. Flight present heading, descend 6,500, vectors for the left side. The altimeter in Calgary is 3002.
6,500, Air Canada 192.
Pacific Northwest 57 Edmonton, you're identified climbing through 424, continue climb, flight level 430.
Continue to flight level 430, Pacific Northwest 57.
Pacific Northwest 58, squawk code 0650.
0650 for 58.
All right, lots of things.
Air Canada 689 passing flight level 29 for clamping and inbound Binville.
Air Canada 689er Edmonton, squawk code 2201.
2201 and squawk. Air Canada 689.
Pacific Northwest 58 Edmonton, you're identified through 253, climb flight level 360. Air Canada 192, turn right heading of 080.
080, Air Canada 192.
At Pacific Northwest 58, can you just confirm for me verbally the climbing altitude, flight level 360?
And from apologies for taking a sip of a drink. We're going to continue the climb to choose here.
Not a problem. A perfect excuse. Thank you very much, Pacific Northwest 58. Air Canada 689, you're identified flight level 308, climb flight level 340.
I was 340 and then the weather was correct, so for Air Canada 689.
All right, so we almost got everything sort of. There we go. All right, just looking through the note times for Calgary here, just to make sure I'm not missing anything important. Not a closed runway or anything like that, because you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be missing a closed runway and try to clear somebody to land on it. So it looks like everything's open in Calgary today, so that's good. Okay, I think we got everything sort of going on here, I hope. Let's see here. Edmonton is going to be my next airport to hit up here, which has got some... it looks like the construction in Edmonton is pretty much done. I don't see any evidence of shortened runways, higher minimums, nothing. Wow. All right, hooray. Congratulations, Edmonton. Construction is finally complete. So let's see here. We got 140 at 12 gusting 17. The other thing, of course, I always ask myself is, can we find a real-world ATIS to get us an idea? Because Edmonton's one of those airports that they tend to use crosswind runways quite a lot because they like to use one runway for arrival, one runway for departure. It doesn't sound like. Doesn't look like there's an ATIS online, so I'm going to pull up the tower frequency while I sort of mull this over here. Let's see here. The wind's 140 at 12, gusting 17. So for arrival with less of a crosswind, you probably want to arrive runway 12 and maybe depart 20. So let's see if that's an option on my. Let's see here. Edmonton. 12 and 20 is an option. Approach runway 12. All right, and departure runway 20. That's okay. Yeah, we could definitely do that. Let's do that. 12 and 20. Arrival's 12, departure's 20. It's a bit of a long taxi for the people in Edmonton, and it's not. And Air Canada 192, turn right heading of 140 to intercept, clear the ILS 17 left. And that's what happens when you're looking away for too long.
I'll turn right 140 to intercept Canada 192.
All right. This one? Nope, that's not the one I'm looking for. There, that's not 12:30. It is actually 12. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, 12:30. And then there's the Edmonton ground view. Perfect. Okay. Shoot. Too much time spent trying to get myself up and running here and not actually paying attention to what's going on here. Okay, this guy, WestJet 2236, I'm going to ping him again. I know it's not a time of day when people are expecting ATC. And Air Canada 192, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Turn right heading 260, and I'll get you back to the ILS here.
260, Canada 192.
Trying to do too many things at once. Focus on the important things. Golf Zulu. He is VFR. He's supposed to be at 4,500, but he's VFR, so I'm not going to bother pinging him too much here. I tried to. Yeah, I hate when I screw up too. You know, you just try to do so many things at once. This is the trouble with being a center controller in the VATSIM network. Is you're really doing a lot of stuff all at once here. What's he flying in anyways? 320? 320. Yeah, you should be able to pull this out here. Hopefully he knows how to intercept the glide slope from above. Yeah, it's so easy to forget what's going on when you're in VATSIM and you're doing a whole bunch of stuff, and it's important not to. It really is truly important not to. There's a bunch of guys up here as well. This guy looks like he departed. Should be. Okay, not getting distracted for too long here. There you go. Okay, that'll do. So we're also going to ping this guy here, and hopefully some of these guys will call us. I don't blame anyone for not calling right away when they're getting on. It's a.
Edmonton Center, good morning. It's Canadian 4312 off 17 in Firebag.
Air Canada 192, turn left heading 200 to intercept, clear the ILS 17 left.
Left 200, was it?
Affirmative, heading 200 to intercept.
Alright, 200.
And sorry, the other aircraft call is again the call sign?
Canadian 4312.
Canadian 4312. All right. Let's see if I can find you here. Canadian 4312, squawk code 0127.
0127, Canadian 4312.
All right.
Edmonton Center West at 2336 at flight level 390.
WestJet 2336, Edmonton, hello, squawk code 0120.
0120, WestJet 2336.
Canadian 4312, thank you, identified at 7,000, continue climb, flight level 380 on course.
Up to 380 on course, Canadian 4312, thanks.
WestJet 2336, thank you, you're identified at flight level 390. All right, and I should put up an ATIS for Fort Mac here. Just going to see what's happening in. Oh, look at you, little Edmontonian. That's right. I've had enough Toronto Centre for a while. That's not true. But I've done a lot of Toronto Centre lately, so it's time to do a little bit of something else again. All right, this time I got him established on final, so that's looking good. Let's see here, Fort Mac. So let's just, before I even put up an ATIS, check the NOTAMs so that my ATIS can be accurate the first time around. All right, there we go. Fort Mac, NOTAMs now. It's Calgary, Fort Mac, anything? Nothing. Okay, perfect. And I'm forgetting one thing here. I'm forgetting my fourth screen here, my other device, which will allow me to have some live winds up. So let's check that real quick here. Winds in, now we're in Edmonton, so we need winds in Calgary. Air Canada 192, Calgary winds 170 at 7, clear to land, 17 left.
Clear to land, 17 left, Air Canada 192.
Perfect. Okay, so we got that going.
G'day, WestJet 735, checking in 380.
WestJet 735, Edmonton, hello, squawk code, let's see here, squawk code 0435.
0435, WestJet 735.
All right, so Fort Mac, nothing untowards going on there. The winds are out of the southeast, so we'll do a 9 in Fort Mac here. There, 8, sorry, 8. That's a weird way to write it.
WestJet 2336, could we step away for 5?
WestJet 2336, that's approved. Let me know when you're back. WestJet 735, Edmonton, you're identified. Flight level 380. The information in Calgary is should be Alpha here. And when ready to send, flight level 240, plan 17 left.
Roger, we'll plan 17 left. We have information Alpha, and when ready down to, I believe that was 170 for WestJet 735.
At WestJet 735, it'll be runway 17 left for now. Descend flight level 240 when ready.
Roger, 240 when ready, thanks.
Edmonton Center, WestJet 187, and Calgary, Alpha 15, clearance to Clonalist Alpha.
And that was WestJet 187, confirm?
Affirm.
WestJet 187, you're cleared to Kelowna via the Stampede 1 departure, radar vectors 2, BOTAG flight plan route, depart runway 17 right, and the squawk code 0124. I don't know why, I think it's Stampede 2 now, isn't it? I feel like it's Stampede 2.
WestJet 187, cleared Kelowna, Stanley 1, radar vectors, BOTAG, flight plan route 17 right, squawk 0124.
And just want to confirm for WestJet 187, that is the Stampede 1 departure?
Stampede 1, WestJet 187.
WestJet 187, thanks. That readback is correct. Information alpha is current. Push back and start up at your discretion. Call me when you're ready for taxi.
Alright, for taxi, WestJet 187, thanks.
Air Canada 689, contact Vancouver Centre now, 133.7, g'day.
Watch 37, Canada 689, bye-bye.
Air Canada 192, welcome to Calgary. Convenient right turn there, and you could turn right on Delta. Which taxiway or which gate are you going to?
Oh, whatever you can give us, Air Canada 192.
All right, Air Canada 192. Where'd you come from here? I came from Vancouver. Air Canada 192, Roger. So for you, we'll assign gate 58. So taxi Delta Juliet and hold short of Juliet Tango for now.
Delta Juliet and hold short of Juliet Tango.
All right. Yeah. So when he comes back, he's away. When he comes back, I'm going to get him probably going in descent here. I got other people. And sometimes I have to add an extra frequency as well. That's what I forget to do sometimes here. So let's do this. Make sure I have I should be able to receive on everything, I think, here. 3502. All right, down upon 9211. Pacific Northwest 57, contact Vancouver now 133.7.
Over to 133.7. Thanks for ATC. Have a good day. Pacific Northwest 57.
And Pacific Northwest 58, same for you. Vancouver now 133.7, and have a great day.
133.7. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Okay, kind of got everything kind of more or less under control here. So WestJet 187's there. He's going to 58.
Edmonton Center, Alpha Kilo Alpha 1551. Very good day, sir. At 5,000 feet, direct Oscar Romeo Tango VOL.
And Alpha Kilo Alpha 1551 Edmonton. Hello, squawk code 0566.
Repeat please the squawk number, Alpha Kilo Alpha 1551.
And Alpha Kilo Alpha 1551, squawk code 0566. 0566.
Squawk 0566, thank you. Alpha Kilo Alpha 1551.
All right, so I also need charts.
WestJet 2336 is back with Alpha and Fort McMurray requesting the RNAV 17 and 2 firebag.
WestJet 2336, thank you for Alpha, and I will I copy your request for the RNAV to 17. Oh, sweet Jesus. Ah, that's the real world, guys. Air Canada 192, you could turn right on Juliet Tango to gate 58.
Right on Juliet Tango, escape at DH, current 192.
Alpha Kilo Alpha 1551, you're identified at 7,300. Continue climb 12,000.
Climbing 12,000, Alpha Kilo Alpha 151.
Alpha Kilo Alpha 1551, the White Horse altimeter 2953.
Altimeter 2953, thank you. Alpha Kilo Alpha 1551.
I can send out a few more pings to get some people to call me here. That's what I was afraid of. Okay, I'll look it up over here. Just trying to look at charts for this destination that these guys are going to. I think you said Firebag is what the airport's called.
Canada 192, can we get a quick, just, can you tell us where our gate is? I don't have Navigraph on right now.
Air Canada 192. So the gate is just off here about your 11 o'clock. It's the westernmost one of the two at the end of the terminal. I assume he understood that. All right, so I turned that off. Let's go airport, CYFI, Firebag, Fort Mac.
2336 is at the top of descent.
WestJet 2336, standby. WestJet 2336, fly present heading, descend flight level 290.
Present heading, descend, sorry, can you say the altitude again?
For now, WestJet 2336, descend flight level 290.
Descend flight level 290 for now, WestJet 2336.
And WestJet 2236, did you want to join the RNAV from Seakick or LIBEP?
Seakick would be great for WestJet 2336. We're actually direct that now. We weren't expecting the ATC to come online, so we deleted Fort McMurray out of there, sorry.
WestJet 2336, it's not a problem. It actually works out really well. You've got traffic over at 11 o'clock. It's a southwestbound 737, just climbing through 36 right now for 38. So the fact that you're off the flight plan course means you're actually out of his way. I'll have a lower once you clear the traffic.
Sure.
And Canadian 4312, traffic over at your 11 o'clock, about 25 miles, is a northbound 737, just starting its descent from 380, should not be a conflict.
Thank you. We'll keep an eye out just in case, but we'll keep an eye out 4312.
Sure. Do I?
Canada 192, we're going to switch off. Thank you for the service.
Canada 192, no problem. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.
You too.
So I put Edmonton before Calgary. That's fine. All right. I wonder, is there any possibility that there's a terminal view for Fort Mac? Because I feel like there's a lot of stuff kind of going on near Fort Mac, and I would love to have a...
Canadian 4312, we got traffic in sight. Don't see a conflict either.
Canadian 4312, thanks. Let's see here. I would like to... CZEG is our... there is nothing in Fort Mac, so I just have to keep zooming in and out, which is just annoying. That's the one thing about this giant airspace, is that I'm always zooming in and out. At WestJet 2336, continue descent 10,000, the Fort Mac altimeter 3016. I don't think I have an event.
10,000 for WestJet 2336.
I don't think I have a Firebag altimeter. No, there's no better. I didn't think so. Okay. Canadian 4312. Proceed direct IGVUX.
Direct IGVUX, Canadian 4312.
WestJet 735. Descend 10,000. The Calgary altimeter 3003.
Roger, 10,000, 3003, WestJet 735.
And Blood Scar 960. Hello. And Hayden UK. Hello. How you guys doing? Welcome to the stream here. It's not super hectic, but it's definitely steady. And I'm hoping that it'll just get even more so as we go through the day here. So we got WestJet 187's push there. Perfect. I got a WestJet 286 at the gate here. So let's see if we can't assign him something. So he's going over to Winnipeg. So we're going to give him 17 left for departure. We're going to give him the Cowboy 2. And that should work out quite nicely. Assign him a squawk code. And... oh, did this guy... All right, WestJet 2336, just to make it official, proceed direct C-kick, and you can plan the RNAV runway 17.
See direct CK, cool. Back the RNAV runway 17, thanks. WestJet 2336.
Let's see here. 100 mile safe is. Why can't I see it here? 100 mile safe is 4,000, 3,500 CMSA, so that's good. I got a
97,
WestJet 187, runway 17 right. The information is Bravo, altimeter 3003, taxi out Hotel Bravo and Charlie. Hold short 17 right, advise ready.
Hotel Bravo, Charlie, hold short 17 right. We'll call you ready, WestJet 187.
Got a couple people who are still persisting and not calling me, and I'm not too worried because like I just logged on. So and Edmonton is one of those places where it's just huge. It takes forever to get through the airspace, so it doesn't surprise me when people do not respond right away. This guy over here, Cargo Lux, is chatting with me, but he's not chatting in the frequency window, so I need him to start, need him to start chatting in the frequency window. Oh, there's some Alnapon. Oh, I did this. He did talk to me, didn't he? He was the text only guy. I have a hard time sometimes wrapping my head around this airspace. It's just so big. There's just so much going on constantly. Okay, we got one guy taxiing out, one guy there. I'm going to wait for him to call me ready just because he's in such a short taxi. It's going to be... and it's going to be thrown away in 10 seconds or less. And
WestJet 187 ready, Charlie 17 right.
WestJet 187, contact me once you're airborne. The wind's 160 at 6, clear for takeoff, runway 17 right.
Fly airborne, WestJet 17 right, clear for takeoff.
All right, so he's getting airborne. I've got 3 people Nordo in my airspace. This guy's trying to chat with me, but he just won't talk to me on frequency. 2 other guys are completely Nordo. It's not a big deal right now. Could become a big deal if it's his speed versus his speed. I think it's going to be okay. He's going to pass behind him, I think. Well, let's just check, shall we? Yeah, should pass 80 miles behind him. Looks like Vancouver just did a reboot or something because they disappeared. Now they're back. All right, this guy's departing. I don't think I will ever understand this. And it's there's a lot to it. There is a lot to it. It helped that I had an aviation background when I started doing this, but I've also been doing this for 13 years now. I have been controlling on VATSIM for 13 years, so it's been a long time. I've gotten very used to it. You can learn it, and we do provide the education. It helps if you have a background knowledge in aviation, but you don't have to. If you want to become a controller on VATSIM or a pilot for that matter, a flight sim pilot on VATSIM, yeah, it takes a long time to learn. But I will highlight that I'm not sure if it's on my overlay or not here, but yeah, it is right there in the corner. That corner, way up there. But way up in the corner up there, underneath the VATSIM logo, it says Aviate, Educate, Communicate. And that middle one is one of the big reasons why VATSIM exists.
WestJet 187, 4,800 climbing 7,000, Stampede 1.
WestJet 187 Edmonton, thank you. You're identified. Continue climb, flight level 230.
230, WestJet 187.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about, but we'll provide you with that information, and it's an educational experience. Nobody here knows everything. Even though I've been doing this for 13 years, I'm still learning new stuff. Somebody pointed out something to me the other day that I had thought a certain way for a long time, and it turned out I was actually incorrect about something. When I actually went to the documents and I read it, I was like, oh, you know what, you are right, I am wrong, and I just learned that. So it happens. It happens constantly on this network. You're always learning stuff, so unless you're afraid of learning, you can wrap your head around this. It can take a long time, and there's a lot of different aspects to it, but you can get your head around it. And certainly, if you want to be a controller, we provide all the training materials you need. We assume you know very little to nothing about aviation to begin with. People who know more will usually progress through the training a little bit faster because of their background knowledge, but it's not impossible for anybody to learn it. WestJet 187, turn right, direct bow tag on course.
Right turn, bow tag on course, WestJet 187.
Yeah, so don't be too intimidated. Yes, like I like to kind of show it off because I like to show what we can do here. WestJet 2336, descend 4000.
Descend 4000, WestJet 2336.
At WestJet 2336, you are cleared the Firebag RNAV runway 17 C kick transition.
Cleared the Firebag RNAV runway 17 C kick transition, WestJet 2336.
Yeah, we people who do have a background knowledge in aviation, they will learn faster because they can draw on that knowledge they already have. But we will teach you pretty much everything you need to know about radio phraseology. We'll teach you the phonetic alphabet. We'll teach you what the basic phrases are, what they mean, why you're doing them, what your goals are, what your limitations are. We'll teach you all that stuff. So don't be afraid to try it. Don't be afraid to try it. By all means, it can seem very intimidating when people are doing it when they're familiar with it, because I'm very familiar with it, but I have been doing this for a long time. So anything you've done for a long time, you do become familiar with. You become well practiced at it. So it takes practice. It certainly does. 100%. WestJet 735, what approach are you planning for Calgary?
No, WestJet 735, we'd like to do the ILS 170 TAD 3.
And sorry, WestJet 735. Okay, check the ILS runway 17 left. You can proceed direct LSOG.
Let's proceed direct to LSOG for WestJet 735.
WestJet 735, descend 8000.
Down to 8,000, WestJet 735.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot to it. There's absolutely a lot to it. But it's a fantastic learning tool as well. Like I enjoy it so much. Like I said, I've learned so much about the ATC side of aviation from doing this, because we try to make it as realistic as possible, but within reasonable limits. We're with the understanding that we are all, we're all amateurs. We're all hobbyists. And that's not strictly true, because there are a number of people who are actual real world controllers on this network, and a lot of the knowledge we have, the training we have, the information we have has come from them. They've taught us how the real world people do it, and we then have taken that knowledge and imparted it on other people and documented it and created a training curriculum based around it. So it is based in reality 100%, and there are real people out there that have helped contribute to that. But it is understood that the vast majority of people on this network are hobbyists. 80 to 90% of the people on this network are hobbyists. So you're not going to be perfect every time. Yes, a lot of people do know quite well what they're doing, but it's not going to be perfect every time, and it's not the end of the world if it's not. WestJet 187, climb flight level 280.
Climb flight level 280, WestJet 187.
And as long as you're willing to learn, and that is probably the biggest thing. If you are willing to listen to other people, take in information, learn from what other people are trying to give you, then most people are very generally forgiving. The only time that people usually get frustrated with a beginner is when they're overloaded themselves. When controllers usually, especially, are overloaded themselves because of the volume of traffic they're dealing with, and they have a beginner who really doesn't know what they're doing. That's when they get frustrated, and I understand that, and there's only so much time you can spend. On a day like this, where it's, for me, like I'm operating at not even 50% capacity, maybe 50% capacity. How's it going? Okay, so I was talking there because I do have a guy buzzing in my ear here. We're going to have an arrival controller in Calgary now. WestJet 735, descend 6,500.
6,500, WestJet 735.
So just trying to sort of coordinate a little bit with him while he gets on board. So trying to do it kind of privately to make sure that I'm not, not that I'm not trying to reveal information, but trying to just maintain the expectation of privacy when we're having controller-to-controller communications. We're trying not to. Um, trying to keep that private so that the conversation can be free and we can talk about things if we need to. I'm just going to turn my volume down a little bit because it looks like it's just overmodulating a little bit. Now, WestJet 735, did you want to do the ILS 17 left from LSOG or did you want a vector to final?
We'll take the vector for WestJet 735.
WestJet 735, no problem. Fly present heading, vectors to final.
Under present heading, WestJet 735.
WestJet 187, continue climb, flight level 340.
Continue climb, flight level 340, WestJet 187.
WestJet 2336, I got no further traffic reported or observed between you and Firebag. You can go to Unicom for the arrival advisory and just give me a call this frequency, down and clear.
Alright, we'll monitor Unicom for the approach. Contact you down and clear. WestJet 2336.
All right, so okay. WestJet 735, turn left heading 260.
Left heading 260, WestJet 735.
All right, just getting this guy vector to final. Go ahead. No, not a word from him yet. Oh, actually, he literally just sent me a text message. Stand by while I read it. WestJet 735, continue the left turn heading 200 to intercept. Clear the ILS 17 left.
200 to intercept, and we're cleared the ILS 17 left for WestJet 735.
Okay, so he literally just called me or just texted me and said, when should I call you or should I call the arrival controller? So I poked him over to you. On this WestJet 735, he is intercepting final, and I'll send him over to you in a moment. Also, did you want to take over the ATIS? 17 Zulu weather. Ooh, it's really poopy there. And WestJet 735, before you go, the RVR in Calgary has dropped a fair bit now. Right now for 17 left, it's showing RVR Alpha 2000 and Bravo 2200.
WestJet 735, roger.
And you can contact, I guess you can contact the tower now on 125.9. Have a great day.
That's 125.9 for WestJet 735 zone.
G'day. Okay. Let me just make sure everything's handled here. So I got to make a phone call now and deal with some stuff. So this is going to be kind of a quiet session for a couple of minutes here. All right, Canadian 4312. The information in Calgary is Charlie. We're landing the 17s. The current RVRs on 17 left is 2,000 and 2,200. On the right side, it's 1,800. And right now, I haven't seen the trend for the last couple of minutes, but I'll let you know if it goes any lower.
Copy that, 4312 in Navigraph, Charlie. You should be okay taking it down a little bit, but we'll keep an eye on it as well.
Canadian 4312, Roger. And when ready, descend flight level 290.
When ready, 290, and we will be on the ILS 17 left, 4312.
Canadian 4312, Roger. All right. WestJet 187, contact Vancouver Center, 133.7.
337, WestJet 187, thanks, yeah.
And attention all aircraft, Edmonton Center's got to step away for about 5 minutes. If you need something, please text me. I'll get to you as soon as I get back. All right, guys, I'm sorry. I've got to step away for a couple minutes. Just I got to make a phone call, and then I will be right back. So There we go. That should work. Okay, that was unexpected, but yeah, sometimes things happen in life. You got to deal with them. Attention aircraft, Edmonton Center is back on frequency. You got to do what you got to do. Sometimes things come up in life, and you know you try and plan around them as best you can, and sometimes things happen unexpectedly that you've got to deal with. So, go ahead. All right, so it never hurts to try. Yeah, because until it refreshes the first time, it'll show whatever was the last thing the system saw. So, because the ATIS system only sends out a message when it changes to a new letter, it sends it to everybody who's connected at that point. So, because you weren't connected when Bravo originally came out, you'll see it update properly when it gets to Charlie. That's one thing. We used to be able to push the ATIS and resend that message, but the VATIS does not let us do that, to the best of my knowledge. No, you can have blanket releases off of. You can have blanket releases off your active. Just let me know if you change the active. Sure. Canadian 4312 Edmonton, when ready, descend 10-10,000. The Calgary altimeter at 3003.
When ready, 10-10,000 and 3003 for the altimeter Calgary, 4312.
All right, so it's now been, since I sent the first contact me,
WestJet 2336,
it's been almost an hour.
down and clear in Firebay.
WestJet 2336, thank you very much. Your flight plan is closed. Alerting services terminated. Have yourself a good rest of the afternoon.
You too, take care.
Guess it's not afternoon in Calgary yet, or Edmonton yet, but it's getting close. All right, so I got still 3 Nordo aircraft in my airspace. Nobody seems in a big hurry. Oh, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Turkish 9. And Lufthansa 490 should get a squawk code as well. Everybody has a squawk code. You get a squawk code, you get a squawk code, everybody gets a squawk code. Okay, well, we got a tower online in Edmonton now, so that's cool. We got Calgary online, so I think I might just start eliminating some of these windows because it just lets me focus a little bit more. It's a little bit quieter, and it's a little bit unfortunate, but I'm hoping that in the long run, this is going to result in more departing 12, arriving 20. Okay, got it. All right. Now we sit and we wait. All right, and then these guys all left my chat channel because they want to talk. They want to hang out, and I don't want to because I'm trying to stream, and it's hard to stream and have people talking in your ear at the same time. And it's important when there's coordination and it's necessary, and I'm not trying to argue against that or anything, but just obviously if I'm on stream and I have someone chatting in my ear and you guys are only hearing half a conversation, or I mute myself and you're hearing none of the conversation, what's the point of the conversation? So what's the point of the streaming? So because the unfortunate side effect of everyone logging on now is it's not a terrible thing, but it does mean that we've got a lot less workload on ourselves here. So now it's just getting kind of boring, frankly. Hopefully that will change. I got 1, 2, 3 en route aircraft. I'm going to hand this guy off to the arrival controller. I'm going to have 2 en route aircraft, and that's going to be it for a little while. Let's pull up VATSPy. Do I have VATSPy open? I don't even have VATSPy open, so I'm just going to open up VATSPy here. Just to try and see if there's more inbounds. Vancouver Center is also online, which actually this actually worked out really well because like having Vancouver Center, Calgary Arrival, Edmonton Tower, Fort Mac Tower, like it's a lot of airports, a lot of controllers kind of around. This is going to lure some traffic in. For the near term, it's going to it's going to decrease my workload, but in the long term, it's going to increase my workload. I've got a couple of people on the ground. Ooh, let's see here. We've got one to Edmonton and one to Calgary out of Vancouver right now. So that's good. Let's see here. Nobody else really got some long flight inbounds from Edmonton and Calgary right now. Nobody that close, unfortunately. So yeah, but hopefully the fact that we've got this many people online now is going to sort of help lure people in. That's my hope. It has annoyed me that there's a couple of people that are on the network that are just not talking to me. And I have been pinging them now for 90 minutes. Not 90 minutes. I've been pinging them for almost 60 minutes. I logged on almost 1 hour ago. I can't believe it's already been almost an hour already. It was pretty hectic there for a few minutes. Now that I've got a couple people hanging out, it's definitely calmed my stuff down here. I should maybe throw out some more ATISes. Maybe a Yellowknife ATIS or a Whitehorse ATIS to try and lure some people in here. Let's see here. So I can put up ATISes for Springbank, Cold Lake. ZYQF. Is that Red Deer? I feel like that's Red Deer. Yeah, that's Red Deer because that's right halfway between Edmonton and Calgary. So I can put up Red Deer even. I could put up, so I'm going to put up definitely, why do I not see Yellowknife? There's Yellowknife. All right, so I'm going to put up Yellowknife and I'm going to put up Whitehorse. Trouble with this FIR, some of these places are so far apart that it's hard to sometimes justify a flight between some of these airports. All right, so at a 140, okay, so we'll do like that's a 16, I think it is, in Yellowknife. And actually, while we're at it, let's bring up the NOTAMs again. So let's see here, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, and we'll do Red Deer as well. We'll do those ones. All right, so first Yellowknife. 1634 available 30 minutes prior notice. Do maintenance daily, overnight hours, 1028 rough sections. Okay, so that's fine. So yeah, so Yellowknife. Where's my Yellowknife? There it is, Yellowknife. We'll do 30. No, sorry, we'll do 16 because the winds are out of the south. And then Whitehorse, there was construction earlier in the year. It looks like it might still be going on. Glide path 32 left, unserviceable daily from 1400 to 0200. Huh, that's interesting. And Canadian 4312. The latest update looks like the fog bank may have rolled through Calgary. Right now, 17 left RVRs, Alpha and Bravo are both showing 3,000.
That's good news. Thanks for the update, Canadian 4312.
Hutch. Let's see here. Glide path 32 left, 1400 to 0200, so it's unserviceable right now. Daily. Auto land procedure not recommended. 14 left, 32 right, closed. 14 right, 32 left, slippery when wet. All right. What's the weather doing? So it's a 14 right kind of arrival day, and that's all right. And 14. All right, so there's Whitehorse ATIS. Getting a lot of ATISes up here now. Look at all these ATISes up here in the corner. And one more. Let's put up Red Deer halfway through. Nothing much going on in Red Deer. So one single NOTAM for NDB unmonitored. So also winds out of the south. So let's do that. Where's my Red Deer? There it is. 17 in Red Deer. All right. Now we got some ATISes going on. Just trying to see here. No, nothing. Okay. Let's see here. We got a departure out of Edmonton now. We got a departure out of Calgary, Red Deer. I got ATISes galore. It's quite something to see now. ATISes all over this FIR. You name it, I got an ATIS at it. That's not true. We could have Cold Lake and High Level as well, but we got most of it here. And then this is, there's a guy who's flying, no, there's a guy flying around Fort Mac maybe? Huh? Good, good, good. We got Edmonton. We got all sorts of stuff going on. All right. Seems like my phone assistants. All right, that's probably close enough to the Calgary terminal there. Canadian 4312, contact Calgary arrival now on 125.9. Good day.
Over to arrival 1259, picture A2C. Have a good rest of your day.
Take care. Take care. All right, I could probably just ditch this altogether in all honesty. Let's just close this one out so that I just have less things to look at. I closed out the Calgary ground view, so now, and I could probably almost close out the Edmonton yeah, I could probably almost close out the Edmonton ground view as well. So this Cargolux never called me. This guy, I'm going to start walloping people here because there's a couple people. Oh, the Lufthansa eventually figured it out. And the Delta eventually figured it out. They eventually just disconnected. But it's like after an hour, buddy, like I'm starting to get a little annoyed. So I'm going to give Turkish the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give him 30 minutes. At the 30-minute mark, if he has not called me, I'm going to wallop him. Because I'm just getting tired of people flying through our space like endlessly. It's one thing, you know, when you first log on. Totally different thing when you first log on. And I just logged on an hour ago. I'm not going to get mad at anybody who's already in my airspace when I logged on. But an hour after I've been online, if you're not calling me within 10 minutes of entering my airspace, let alone 30, you're pretty... So 32, 42. So it's been 10 minutes since I first pinged him. So I'll give him a little bit of time. Ay. Now it's not going to be very exciting, so maybe we can find some other stuff to talk about. If anybody's got some questions about ATC or anything aviation related, please feel free to ask.
Peg Center, afternoon, Turkish 9 heavy with you. Flight level 340.
Turkish 9er heavy, good, let's see here, still morning for 16 more minutes. Good morning, squawk code 0525.
Good morning in 0525, Turkish 9 Heavy.
I almost wanted to say good afternoon. I had to look down at the clock to see what time it actually was because I've been awake for a long time. I got up pretty early this morning. I hit the gym for a few minutes, for a few minutes, I mean for an hour, just to sort of wake myself up early because I'm in the wrong time zone. I'm trying to get myself up early so I can go to bed early so I can get up early again, rather than sleep in a long time. And I ended up sleeping in longer than I had planned because, well, I was just tired. I hadn't slept properly for a couple of days, so it was definitely worth it to get a good night's sleep last night. Turkish 9er Heavy, thank you very much. Identified flight level 340. Welcome.
Thanks, Turkish 9.
This guy's going to take a long time just to get out of my airspace here. 1807. He's still got another 30, 25 minutes before he gets into my airspace. It's going to be a while. This guy's trucking through pretty quick here, actually. This guy's going to be through my airspace. Just because he's at such a high latitude, my airspace, although it looks parallel on the screen, it's actually, in reality, it's a triangle because up here at the top, this is actually the North Pole, but just because of the way the screen is processed, so it looks like it's a long way when in actual fact, up here, it's only 900 miles across, whereas down here, it's twice that distance because of the curvature of the Earth. So this should actually be a triangle. He's going to make it through this airspace actually pretty quickly here. In less than 2 hours, he's going to be through my airspace. Whereas someone down here, like the Cargo Lux, who is moving at the same speed, pretty much 490 versus 510, he's moving 20 knots slower. It will take 3 hours to get through my airspace down here because from here to here is 1,900 miles. From here to here is only 900 miles. And it's just because of distortion caused by the way the mapping is basically displayed. All right, anybody else coming to Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, anything yet? We got a departure out of Calgary. We got a departure out of Edmonton. I got a couple people inbound. Somebody's going from Terrace to Edmonton. Good stuff. An Arctic flight. Good. Anybody airborne yet? That guy's just going to Kelowna. That doesn't help me. Nobody else airborne yet, unfortunately. There's a lot of departures kind of heading this way. There's an airborne flight. There's an Air Canada flight inbound to Edmonton. He's over Lake Huron right now. He won't be here for like 3 hours, and I will be logged off by then. My target log off time today is, let's see here, 2 hours from now. So I guess it'll be about 2000 Zulu. Does that sound right? Yeah, 2000 Zulu. Yeah, that sounds right. I have to think time zones. I'm in a different time zone, and I'm kind of planning my bedtime based on this time zone. And it's, good evening. How many years have you been controlling on VATSIM? That's a great question, and I actually answered that like half an hour ago in the stream when somebody else asked a different question. But I've actually been controlling on VATSIM, and I was just thinking about this for 13 years. It was 2010, January of 2010. So 13 and a half years now. January 2010 when I first signed up for VATSIM and first started controlling. I am, well, let's say that you can see where I am on the scopes. I am somewhere in the Edmonton FIR today. That's as accurate as I'm going to get. But I thought it was appropriate to control the Edmonton FIR since I'm currently hanging out within the Edmonton FIR, but it's just throwing off my time zones completely because I am normally based in the Eastern time zone, so for me to be out here, it's funny. Like you wouldn't think even 2 hours would jet lag you that much, but when you're pushing the clock to weird times, I think it's the other thing. Like I have to, I have to do a red eye tonight. So for me to do a red eye tonight, like I have to go to bed at like a middle of the day. We're going to hunt you down if you reveal too much. Yeah, exactly. So I have to do a red eye tonight. So I'm going to be trying to go to sleep like in the middle of the day, like just after lunch, in Mountain Time, in order to get a decent amount of sleep and get up in time. So I tried to get up like super early, like 2 hours before the sun came up this morning. I tried to get up and I ended up sleeping a little longer than I had originally planned, but I think the rest was well deserved, and possibly well needed. So I ended up sleeping a little longer, but yeah, then my biggest thing is especially when I'm on the West Coast, anywhere west of my normal time zone, I try to hit the gym first thing in the morning because it wakes you up really well. And even if it's still dark outside, you can wake yourself up. You can convince your body to do a lot of physical activity that way. So, no, Mickey Yossi, don't worry about it. I just thought it was funny that I hadn't, I was just thinking about it because we were talking about it half an hour ago. So. It's funny how yeah, you weren't here, but you asked the same question that I answered half an hour ago, which is not something that I answer that often. I mean, people ask me it once in a while, but it's not something I get asked that often. But yeah, I've been doing this for way too long. But it is really truly a fun hobby, and it's a nice, as someone who travels a lot, it's a nice portable hobby. You can sit in a hotel room almost anywhere and control VATSIM. All you need is a reasonable connection to the internet. It doesn't even have to be super fast or anything. It doesn't have to be a high speed connection. It could be any lousy old hotel. There have been a few hotels where I have actually sat down and I've been unable to control because of the um, because of the quality of the Wi-Fi, and not even usually the speed, but it's usually the persistence of the Wi-Fi. There's some hotels you get sometimes where the Wi-Fi drops periodically. Either the hotel connection is bad, or just your room is in a like a dark spot where it doesn't get very good Wi-Fi connection. So depending on where you are, I've actually sat at different spots in the room to try and find better connections. Most hotels these days are pretty good, but it's a great hobby for that. So I kind of took it up years ago as a hey, I end up having lots of time to kill in hotel rooms. Why not have something fun that I can do? And just how do you get 4 monitors in a hotel room? That's a good question. That is an excellent question. I don't have 4, but I do have 3 screens in front of me. I actually do have 4 screens in front of me. Actually, funny enough. So I have my laptop screen. And Arthur Spring SFS, I'll get back to you in a minute here. But yeah, I do have my laptop screen. I also almost always, well, as part of my travel gear, I have an HDMI cable. So I almost always end up plugging one cable I end up plugging my laptop into the TV using the HDMI port. So my TV is a second screen. That's why I'm looking up here. When I'm looking up here over in this direction, that's me looking at the hotel room TV as a second screen. So I've got the chat up there. I've got charts and notams and stuff up there on the second screen. The third screen I have is actually my company tablet, which I just simply use to pull up the winds. So I just simply have the winds constantly going. Speaking of the winds, the other thing that's on there is also the live RVR. So it's not so relevant now that I'm not controlling any tower positions, but the RVR in Calgary is back up to 6,000 plus 5,500, so it's actually gotten better again. And then the fourth screen, which I'm not really using right now, is my phone. So, but I could pull up things on my phone, personal. I could pull up charts on my phone. It's a little bit of a small screen. It's not the ideal, but for small amounts of information, it can be very useful. But I do have 3 screens in front of me in a hotel room, which is kind of, you're right, that is kind of funny. Yeah, and honestly, like for what a 6-foot. Go for a 6-foot or even a 10-foot HDMI cable for what it costs. As someone who travels a lot, totally worth it. I can put whatever I want. I can put my own Netflix on the hotel TV without having to worry about logging in with my Netflix password, because this is one of the things, and this really kind of is something that I'm surprised hasn't become more in demand. Something that hasn't really been created, devised by Netflix and all the other streaming services. So a lot of times now, we've sort of dragged the hotels kicking and screaming into the 21st century. So now a lot of hotel TVs, you can log into your account, your Netflix account, you can log into your YouTube account, you can log into your various streaming service accounts on the hotel TV. Fort McMurray, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. I don't have too much traffic right now. If I get some traffic inbound, I'll coordinate with you. Thanks. Yeah, so we dragged the hotels kicking and screaming into the 21st century, and so a lot of them have you can log into Netflix on the TV and all the various streaming services, but I have some issue with that, with putting my credentials into a device that I do not know about. And not that I think that the hotels are trying to steal my Netflix accounts, but you could get someone with nefarious purposes who gets into a hotel room and perhaps I would rather, so, and yeah, Mickey Ozzy says he never does that in a hotel, don't trust the network security. I do have issues with network security for something like this, where I'm VATSIMing, where I'm streaming. It's not, to me, it's not a high security thing. I have issues with things like doing banking and things from hotel rooms. I will use my VPN before I'll ever consider doing logging into any of my major services like banking and whatnot in a hotel room, but certainly logging on to VATSIM, you know, it's a low risk activity. If someone really wants to impersonate me on VATSIM and steal my credentials, so be it. But yeah, absolutely. Hotel TVs and stuff, I would never want to put my password in there. You don't know the security level that they've got in the hotel. You don't know if someone has come into this room or come into a number of rooms in the hotel and perhaps put some kind of credential stealing software. It's not a big deal, but it's more the frustration of, okay, now if especially Netflix, like Netflix is shared, you know, among my whole family, a number of devices. If we have to change the Netflix password, that just immediately sets up a whole chain of issues. Tons of passwords have to get changed. It's not just one device where the passwords get changed. There's going to be a whole bunch of devices, so it gets really frustrating in that case. So I don't want to go down that road. I have issues about putting passwords into just random devices that are stationed for me to use. So I'd rather hook up my HDMI cord where it's got very minimal information transmission, and utilize the hotel TVs that way. And some of them, you know, they lock the hotel TVs down, so it's very hard to use it. But most of the time I managed to bypass that. But yeah, but that's the thing, and I think that would be a really kind of smart next step would be to kind of invent temporary disposable Netflix passwords. So when you do go to a device in a hotel or something like that, this is not my full Netflix account password. This is just like a one-time disposable password that I can use in this hotel room. And, you know, even if it's for some reason pillaged or whatever, you know, it was a one-time use. It wasn't like the master password for my account. You know, much as there are you can get like disposable, you can get disposable phone numbers, Visa card numbers, just a disposable password or disposable email addresses. Even you can have there's various systems out there that let you have not necessarily disposable, but email addresses that hide your actual email address. So these are kind of fake email addresses that forward to your real email address for all those kind of nefarious websites out there, or websites where you're just not sure of the security level of the validity of the website. And I have a few different email addresses for that, but it's annoying to set them up, so it's kind of nice to have those. So that's something that I think is kind of the next level, and it's only really visible probably to people who travel a lot. But for people who travel a lot, that seems like the next level of okay, you know, I have some faith in the places that I stay, but I don't have full faith. And you're right, I don't have full faith in their network abilities. It's a lot of different hotels, a lot of different cities. Some of them are probably quite secure and are fine, but then there's others that aren't. And you don't know what happens in those hotel rooms when the door is closed. So you don't know if people are hacking into the TVs and reprogramming them, doing other things to them. So yeah, I tend to use an HDMI cable. To me, that seems like the safest vector. You know, and the same thing, I'm looking around this hotel room and there's a number of plugs that have, you know, the included HDMI ports and, or not HDMI, what am I trying to say here? The included USB ports, you know, charge your device here. And I just look at a strange USB port in a you know, a hotel room desk or whatever, built into a hotel room desk. And I'm like, no, I had not plugged my device into that, not to charge it. I have normal chargers that I bring with me, just my own plug-in chargers that I've bought over the years that I bring with me, and I'll plug that in and plug my USB cable into that. Or I have one other thing that I do have that I travel with a lot, and I do use it from time to time. I find it is a very useful tool. Is I have it looks like we got a departure out of Edmonton here. Nice. I do have what I'd like to call the USB condom, which is basically...
Edmonton Center, hello, FedEx 57 Tango Heavy with you, passing 3,200.
FedEx 57 Tango Heavy, Edmonton Center, good day, you're identified, climb flight level 230.
230, 57 Tango Heavy.
Let's see if I can find it. It should be in my bag here somewhere. But all it is it's just a little connector. It should be in here. Uh-oh. There it is. So it's this right here. It's just a little USB connector, and all it is it's just simply a connector that only connects the power pins of the USB cable. So if you actually, and you can actually physically see this on the inside, the only pins that are connected on the input side, you can't really see it from this view, but on the input side here, the only two pins that are connected are the power pins, or the outer two pins. The other two pins are just blank. There's not even any metal there. FedEx 57 Tango, turn right, direct Andy on course.
Right, direct Andy on course, 57 Tango.
yeah, so the only thing that can get through this device is power. They get the two outer pins, the 4 pins on the USB-A standard are the power pins. The two middle pins are the data pins. So the only thing that gets through here is power. The trouble with this is it slows the charging rate because the devices use those digital cables even for charging to transmit information about the battery charge level and how much current is allowed. When they are unable to connect and contact the charging device, then they often will restrict the charging rate. So if I was to plug my phone into this, my phone is pretty substantially discharged at this point. It's at 33%. It's getting pretty low. If I was to plug my phone into this, it will charge at a very slow rate. It'll take 12 or 15 hours for it to recharge because it won't let it go at a high current rate if there's no communication. But it's a useful device to have. It's a handy little thing. Exactly. It's a handy little thing. I just keep it attached to one of my charging cords, and I have it with me. I take it with me everywhere. So if I am stuck somewhere where there is no plug and there's only a USB port, I can plug this in and I can charge my devices with it. It's not ideal. It usually will be a very restricted charging rate. And speaking of charging my devices at 33%, I should be charging my phone all day today. But it's better than nothing. So that was a Christmas gift quite a few years ago from my dad, but it was something I asked for, and he did find one, and I'm very grateful for it. And I love the fact that you can physically see inside it. You can see inside that there are only the 2 pins, the power pins, so you know it's not a deceptive device. You know, it's not something that they're trying to sell as a. Who's this guy? This guy's new. That guy. I gave up on these guys, but this guy's new. He spawned in my airspace. He better be talking to me. But yeah, you can actually physically see that there's only 2 power pins, so it's it's only allowing power through that device. There's no digital connection whatsoever. So yeah, very handy little thing. But otherwise, yeah, I would never ever think of charging any of my devices from some random USB port in the airport, in a taxi, in a hotel room. If I didn't know where that USB port was connected to, I ain't touching it. I ain't touching it without my USB condom. Arthur Springs FS asked me like 10 minutes ago now, so I'm sorry I ignored you for so long, but what is my favorite FIR to control? In all honesty, I have to say probably Toronto, just because it is my home base, I know it well, and because it often builds up a good traffic level very quickly. That being said, all the FIRs in Canada are unique, and they each have their own fun advantages. I like Toronto because I know it well. I know it extremely well. I feel very comfortable in it, so I settle into it very quickly, and it also tends to lure in the most airplanes, so it tends to get very busy as long as there's a controller online. So I do like that one best of all, but I do like Edmonton. Edmonton is neat just because of the size. The sheer size of this FIR. From top to bottom, it's like 3,000 miles. Sorry, it's 2,400 miles. I exaggerate slightly. It's 2,400 miles from top to bottom. You know, at its widest spot, it's 2,100 miles wide. It's a huge FIR. It can take a long time for aircraft to cross this airspace. Turkish is going to be in our airspace here for 3 more hours. 3 hours and 40 minutes before Turkish leaves this airspace. He's going to be here. It just goes on forever. Al Napon's going to be here for about another hour. A little less than an hour. And again, this is because of the distortion, because of the fact that this is the North Pole up here. So the map actually is like this, but on the screen it's drawn this way because it's just the way the screen and the system are designed to render. They're designed to render it as a smaller, flatter area. When it's a big space like Edmonton, where it's occupying like a fifth of the globe. It's not a fifth of the globe, but like it is. Like it. This is what is this? The 49th parallel? You think I should know that, but I don't even know what. But I think it is the 49th parallel. So for the 49th parallel, all the way to the North Pole, it's a large airspace. And it's neat. And the other thing that really is neat about Edmonton is the fact that there's 2 major airports. It's the only FIR in Canada really where there's 2 major airports. There's Edmonton and there's Calgary. The only other one you could argue has 2 major airports is Montreal, which has Montreal and it has Ottawa. Outside of that, usually you're just dealing with 1 major and a bunch of minor airports. So if you're just logged on just as Edmonton and there's not much else going on, you'll usually get a lot of traffic just back and forth. This 120 miles, this 40-minute trip between Edmonton and Calgary. It's just long enough to kind of get pilots interested in it. So yeah, this could be a really neat FIR just because of the proximity of these 2 big airports. You get a lot of traffic that kind of goes between them. Fort Mac's also another pretty commonly used airport. People like it a lot. FedEx 57 Tango, climb flight level 280. I guess I should accept this handoff here. I'm staring.
280, 57 Tango.
yeah, it's different FIRs have their different unique traits. Vancouver's neat just because it is mountainous. You have to constantly be thinking about terrain clearance. It's very different like that. You're always paranoid about terrain clearance. Most other FIRs in Canada, the terrain, a lot of places, 3,000 feet is a safe altitude throughout the entire FIR. Here in Edmonton, as you kind of get to the western edge, it does get mountainous, but most of Edmonton is pretty flat. So, a couple thousand feet and you're done. Everybody's safe. But when you're working Vancouver, you've got to constantly think about terrain clearance. All the terminal areas have, terrain charts to show you where the terrain is, how low you can clear airplanes in various areas. It's interesting that way. And the people in Vancouver are super friendly, and the people in Edmonton are super friendly too. I shouldn't disparage them because they're here, chatting with me in the other window. But yeah, the Edmonton people, everyone in every FIR is full of friendly people. Winnipeg's just a kind of a quiet place, but I have to say it's one of those places too. Like when you do get these guys together there, they do have a raucous time, and they can get a lot of traffic moved very well. So I do enjoy Winnipeg. Montreal, the language thing is at times, to me, it's not a barrier, but it discourages me from doing it if I'm not feeling in the mood for it. I have to be in the right mood for it. I really do enjoy doing it, and I love the fact that I've managed to learn enough French to be able to get by as a controller. And it's not always perfect, it's not always great, and sometimes I rely on Google Translate, but I do try to get by as a bilingual controller as best I can, and I can do most of the basic tasks bilingually if I need to. When you start to get
Edmonton 57 Tango.
FedEx 57 Tango, go ahead.
Just to see at Vancouver Centre's gone off, I was going to ask you, this first Wings event in Vancouver tonight, can anybody fly there, or does it have to be booked? Do you know?
I honestly don't know anything about it. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. I just saw it on the SimAware map, so...
If it's a First Wings event, I think usually those are targeted at novices to the network, just to give them a chance to get used to it in a low pressure environment.
Yeah, I've never been to one. The thing is, I look at them all the time, so I know they move them around on VATSIM, and I think they do allow people to fly there. Normally it's one place to another. I don't see another place where they're flying from. I normally have to book slots, so I was just wondering if we could fly into there from anywhere really without booking. But if you don't know, I guess I'll just have to look it up somewhere and find the information.
Fortunately for you, I'm actually live streaming right now, and the division director is sending me messages. He says you don't have to book. He says it's basically a free-for-all. The idea is, again, it's mostly targeted to be a very low-pressure, high-education environment for new pilots. But you're welcome to join, and just be very patient as new pilots are kind of getting through the frequency.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, it sounds like everybody is welcome. All right, so the WestJet is text only, so I transmitted him, hello, climb flight level 350, and he acknowledged.
Edmonton Centre, though, again, Turkish 9 Heavy with a request.
Turkish 9er Heavy, go ahead.
Yes, I would just like 20 minutes out of cockpit if possible.
Turkish 9er Heavy, that's approved. Let me know when you're back.
Roger, so we'll call him back, Turkish 9 Heavy.
Oops. That's not what I meant to do. That's what I meant to do.
And so the FedEx 57 Tango is looking for hire as well.
And FedEx 57 Tango, yep, sorry, I just saw that. Climb flight level 340.
340, I must have distracted you.
No problem. Anyone can fly in the First Winds event, no booking needed. And again, someone said that, so yeah. There we go. Yeah. What a great event, though. So I didn't even know about this. I'll be honest, I don't see a lot of the events. Yeah, I don't see a lot of the events, mostly because I'm coming and going at weird times. So the fact that I'm on a weekend is a bit unusual. Abbotsford, Victoria, Nanaimo, and many others. Yeah, have you made a VATSIM account but feel intimidated every time you try to speak on the frequency? If you get to make an account because you feel you haven't got what it takes? And there was somebody up here that said, I'll never learn this. That was Bloodscar 960. If you're still listening, this kind of event's targeted for you and not, Yeah, this event is targeted at you if you're not comfortable with VATSIM, or you feel like maybe you're a little bit, but you want to become more comfortable. This is the kind of event that's really it's not meant to be the high pressure cross the pond Friday night ops where you have like 1,000 people all converging on one airport, and the controllers are so overwhelmed that they yell at the first person who makes a single mistake. The whole idea is it's very low key, low pressure, a lot of new people, and the controllers specifically come there that night knowing it's going to be new people, knowing that it's going to be it's not going to go great, but they're going to try and help them get through it, and that's probably the biggest thing. Really, is helping them get through that first couple of times connecting to the network. Get used to the idea of talking on the radio and realize that, yeah, okay, if you make a mistake, it's not going to kill you. This is, people put a lot of stock into this network, and there are some people that get very adamant about, oh my God, like you didn't do it right, like you're an idiot, and go away and never come back again. I think most people on this network do not have that attitude. There are a few, and I do get it when people are stressed, when the controllers are stressed, when they have very high workload and they're trying to manage the workload and they don't have time to assist somebody who really needs to have their hand held through the whole thing. And I get that, and everyone kind of has that time, that moment where they feel overwhelmed and they get to that point. But for the most part, VATSIM's a very friendly place. But because of the high level of skill that we strive for, people become very intimidated by it, but you don't have to be. Events like this are exactly what new people need, just to get used to coming on the network, connecting, checking the radios, even talking, doing the most basic stuff. Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, I also, in my YouTube channel, I have some from a couple of years ago now, videos of doing your first circuit on VATSIM, and literally just to kind of explaining it. And I didn't even coordinate with the controller that day. That was the fun thing. Was like I went and I found found a controller who was online on a tower at the airport, recorded a video of me doing a circuit, talking to this guy he didn't even know. So he treated me like anybody else. He didn't even know that I was recording it at the time. I told him afterwards, but just to sort of get that full, experience of this is what it sounds like to be talking to these pilots and talking to these controllers. And it's not, it's not designed to be intimidating. It's designed to be educational. It's designed to be a system that teaches you. So if you don't know how to fly, don't know how to talk on the radio. If you don't know how to fly, then that's a different story. We can't teach you how to fly because we can't take control of your airplane. But if you don't know how to talk on the radio, how to interact with other controllers, with other pilots, work within the boundaries of the airspace system and the aviation regulations, we can help with that. And that's what the First Wings events are for. So booking is not required. Just load up your sim, go fly. The general idea is to make it a VFR flight. It's not so much aimed at IFR. It's more aimed at VFR. But that's tonight. So that's October 14th, starting at 23:59 Zulu, going for 3 hours. The airports listed are Vancouver FIR anyway. So the primary airports they're targeting are Abbotsford, Victoria, and Nanaimo. CYXX, CYYJ, and CYCD. Those are the primary
Center
airports
WestJet
targeting.
268. Can I get a radio check?
WestJet 268, I got you 5. How do you read me?
Read you 5.
WestJet 268, I copy that. I'll switch to a voice only now. Event NOTAM. Pilots must ensure they have read the pilot brief to fly the event, as there are a few unique procedures covered in this document that will be useful for the event. So there is, if you go and search for it, so all I did was I literally typed into Google and I said VATSIM, I said CYVR First Wings, and it literally was the first result that came up in Google. And you do need some kind of charts. You do usually need some kind of charts. At the very least, you need the airport charts. If you don't know where to get them, you can usually find them. There's a website called ChartFox that will find you the if there's any free charts available for that airport. It will help you find them. You can usually go to the FIR's websites as well. So if you're flying in the Vancouver FIR, go to the Vancouver FIR's website. They'll usually have some basic, they might be slightly outdated, but they'll usually have basic charts that will help you. Even if you're flying VFR, you'll need the airport charts to know where the taxiways are. So there is some basic stuff you do need to kind of know. And if you make a mistake, the controllers will usually try to help you, point you in the right direction. But you do have to be willing to learn, and you do have to be willing to learn and take in information and admit when you've made a mistake and learn from it. That's the biggest thing. We can't nobody can learn for you, and I've always kind of said that there's no such thing really as a teacher. All a teacher is a learning facilitator. They're there to help you learn, but they can never learn for you. They can't teach you things you're not willing to learn. So I've always thought that the best way to think of a teacher is as a learning facilitator. That's what they are there for. All right, buddy, you gotta call me here, like, honestly. Let's see here. It's been 14 minutes, and this person's been bombing through my airspace. They logged in mid-airspace and did not call me. Okay, so Mickey Yossi said, when I started, I had the luck of patient controllers, and even now most controllers are really cool when you make a mistake. But one thing is important: you have to know how know your plane and how to use the GPS flight director, FMC, and you need some kind of charts. And that is very true. And that's why I encourage people to start with smaller, lighter aircraft. Everyone wants to hop in and start with the 320 or the 737, but that is a complex airliner. That is not. It's not something you'll learn in a day or an hour or 5 minutes. That's a complex airliner. To operate it properly, to be able to go directly to fixes, adjust your speed, your altitude, fly the auto. You need definitely practice for that. We're not going to teach you how to fly on VATSIM. That's not one thing we're not going to teach you. We're going to teach you a lot of the more periphery stuff around flying, all the background stuff, air law and communications and airspace and things like that. That's the kind of stuff we will teach you in VATSIM. But yeah, you need to have some of this basic stuff. You need to understand your airplane. So that's why I recommend, especially to rookies, go out there and just do some VFR circuits. It seems almost weird because it's so wishy-washy and loosey-goosey, and there's not like strict rules like you will go from point A to point B via this route at this altitude at this time with this speed. It's people have a hard time because there's a little bit more looseness to it, but at the same time, that looseness allows people to make mistakes and have a little bit of tolerances. But it's also just when you're doing circuits in a small aircraft, or even doing a cross-country flight in a small aircraft, there's less going on. It's happening at a slower pace. You can deal with it when you're new. So go grab a 172, the Cirrus, a DA42, something small, light, just a couple of gauges, an altimeter, an airspeed indicator, a radio. It's really all you need to do circuits. You don't even need a GPS, though it does help for positional awareness, but just the most basic instruments. Go up in the most basic instruments, get used to the idea of communicating and talking and learning and flying. But yeah, don't try to learn a new airplane on the network. If you don't understand the basics of how an airplane operates, don't log into the network, because there's going to be an assumption that you can do at least some basic stuff. Maybe more advanced stuff you don't understand how to program a hold in your airplane. That's okay. That's not an everyday kind of thing. And if you can't do it, it's usually okay. We'll usually find a different alternative if you can't hold. Even a go around. Be ready to do a go around. Understand what a go around is, how to do a go around, because chances are you are going to have to do one at some point. It doesn't happen every single time, but all right. What do we got here? We do have a Gander Center online. There's a Gander Center online. There's people all over the place that just not talking to me. All right, but I do see some inbounds here. I see this guy. It looks like WestJet 174 inbound to Edmonton. I saw my internet just blink for a second there, so hopefully you guys are still listening and still hearing this. And the other thing Mickey Yossi said also was Navigraph was a big step up in my experience while simming to understand the environment where you're flying in. And I highly recommend Navigraph. It is one of the best products out there. Truly a fantastic product. It's not cheap. I think it's now it's like 75 or 79 euros a year, so it's not a cheap product for an annual subscription. But one thing I'll say is the quality of their information, it's great, and the more you sim, the more it becomes worth it. So if you're just a casual simmer, it might not be worth it. But if you're a hardcore, if you're flying online at least once a week, I think it's a huge asset to have. I think it's definitely a necessity in most cases. The other thing about it is that they are constantly improving their software. This is not a company that just sort of has taken your money and running and leaving. Every single time they make a nav data update, there is usually some coupled other updates as well. There's usually something, some improvement either to the SimBrief system, to the in-game charts, to their charting websites and desktop applications. And they've got applications in so many different environments. You can use your Navigraph subscription in sim aircraft, in the sim menus, everywhere. It's phenomenal as a system to kind of see it. They've really done just a bang up job of making sure that they're giving you good bang for their buck. That's one company that, as much as it is expensive and they raised their price this year, as so many people did, I still feel like their product is very worthwhile. And as someone who sims on a regular basis, who flies a sim on a weekly basis at least, I definitely get my money's worth out of the Navigraph charts. But it is, if you're definitely into this and you want to get good at it, Navigraph is an indispensable tool. All right, how are we doing here?
Edmonton Center, good afternoon, WestJet 4103, passing 5,000.
WestJet 4103, Edmonton, hello, you're identified. Climb flight level 230.
Climb flight level 230, WestJet 4103.
WestJet 4103, thanks. And passing Jevon, turn left direct Avalon course.
Passing Jevon, direct Devon on course, WestJet 4103.
I think he said it wrong, but there's not a whole lot of traffic, so I'm not super worried about it right now. I'm just trying to see here. Yeah, okay. Just trying to see if I'm doing realistic here, because I'm always kind of observing ATC patterns out there in the real world and trying to apply them on here, because there's just so much stuff to remember sometimes. Alpha Kilo Alpha 1551, Edmonton. You're leaving my airspace to the west. The Anchorage Center is not online. Switch to the en route frequency. Surveillance service terminates, and have a great day.
Thank you very much for this update. Have a good day. Alpha Kilo Alpha 155.
All right, it was a little weak, partly because of the altitude, but at least I did get him in the end. Information Foxtrot in Calgary, 1 mile, overcast at 300. It's a cloudy fall in Calgary. At WestJet 4103, you can turn left, let's make it left direct Nanlu at this time.
Left turn direct Nanlu for WestJet 4103.
All right. We got two more guys on the ground there. Give it some time. We'll get a couple more things going on here. Let's see what it is. WestJet's going to Winnipeg. Let's just see here. Fort Mac, go ahead. Okay, very good. Nobody on the ground at all?
Edmonton Center, this is Roger 174, squawk 6310, flight level 390 and 13 miles to Romra, with you.
And WestJet 174, stand by. Sorry, and is anybody on the ground at all right now in Fort Mac? Okay, sounds good. Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, get 8. All right, so Fort Mac Tower is closing. WestJet 174, Edmonton, squawk ident.
Roger 174.
And WestJet 268, Edmonton. You're about to leave my airspace. However, I do have traffic. You're going to pass in about 10 to 12 minutes. So I'm going to just keep you for a little bit extra here. You're at the same altitude, so I just want to see how this works out as you get a little closer.
Roger that, WestJet 268.
WestJet 174, thank you very much. You are identified, flight level 390. The information in Edmonton is a Golf, and you can plan runway 20 for arrival.
Roger 174, Roger, and we would like to using our left Zulu approach runway 20.
WestJet 174, I copy the RNAV Zulu for runway 20. You can plan on that.
Roger 174, Roger, thank you.
FedEx 57 Tango Heavy, you've left my airspace to the west. Vancouver Center has gone offline. Switch to the on frequency. Surveillance service terminates, and have a great day.
22A for FedEx 57 Tango, you too. Bye-bye.
WestJet 4103, continue climb, flight level 370.
Flight level 370, WestJet 4103.
All right, how we doing here? This guy's still not talking to me. That guy's left my airspace. Got this Arctic guy coming in as well. Good, good. We got some stuff going on here soon, so it's not the busiest right now, but... Cook 70, Edmonton, hello, squawk code 1016.
1016, and I apologize for not checking the field.
Well, I kind of missed the last part there, but... The thing that kind of bugged me about this guy was that he was in my airspace when he logged on. So he actively was doing something. It wasn't like he even walked away from the computer for any length of time. He was at the computer because he logged onto the network. And that really bugs me. It's one thing when people are kind of sailing along, connect to the network for hours and not talking to anybody. Like it's Cook 70, your identified flight level 390. Welcome. And that's the sort of thing that bugs me. Really kind of bugs me. WestJet 174, Edmonton. When ready, descend flight level 290.
Ready, down to 5290, WestJet 174.
Yeah. Tricky GB. Navigraph changed everything for me when it made things much easier to understand. I hear they are adding VATSIM traffic to Navigraph. See, I have to say that like one of the greatest things that they added was when they merged the Navigraph weather to SimBrief, and that whole merger between SimBrief and Navigraph, I was a little skeptical, a little bit worried at first. I'll be honest, I was not. I thought it has a lot of good potential, but I was very concerned just on the idea that like maybe Navigraph would fold SimBrief into their paid model, so you wouldn't be able to use SimBrief for free if just as a user, that you would have to have a Navigraph subscription to even be able to access it. So I was kind of worried about that. Fortunately, my fears have not come to fruition, and from everything I've seen, SimBrief is a gateway for Navigraph, and they use that to kind of push their subscriptions a little bit, and because they integrate a lot of the stuff, and a lot of stuff is available if you are a subscriber. So it's. I think in the end it was a good thing. I was worried at first, but it has turned out to very nice. But yeah, there are a lot of really good things that Navigraph has done. The one thing that I'm looking forward to, hopefully one day, this is the one thing that the real world JetView app does that the Navigraph does not do. And I don't know how well you can see this, but this is I don't even know what AMM stands for, but it's called the AMM chart for Calgary. It's not great because I'm just trying to do this here, but what you can do is you can zoom in completely on any part of Calgary. Yep, and because I'm in drawing mode, sorry, I'm trying to do this here. Done. So I didn't mean to draw on it, but you can draw on it, which is also great to see. But you can also scroll around the whole airport and you can see everything. And if you scroll, as you zoom in far enough, it even shows you like all the lines. I don't know how well that comes across at all, but it even shows you all the lines, the center lines on all the taxiways, on all the aprons. It shows you the runways. It shows you almost everything. It's not 100% accurate, but it is pretty darn precise. They don't guarantee it, but it is really good. When you have and when you're taxiing around on an airport in the real world, you can actually see your little GPS position moving around the airport on this chart, centered on those taxi lines. You can see the taxi lines. You can really use it in low visibility conditions to judge where you are, whether you're if you're making the right turns. You can see everything, and you can draw on it. So like closed taxiways and whatnot, I usually mark all the closed taxiways and runways on that, so I can kind of get an idea of where not to expect a taxi, all sorts of stuff like that. That's the one thing that Navigraph has not done yet, but I would imagine it must be in the cars, because that's Jeppesen data right there, and I'm sure that they probably would like to have something like that integrated into their app. It's a fantastic tool when you're taxiing, especially somewhere you're A, unfamiliar with, or B, lower visibility. Even when you know where you're going, it's a useful tool to see kind of how the yellow lines are actually laid out, so you could try and follow the correct yellow center line while you're trying to navigate, which could be challenging if it's a very what's the word I'm looking for? If it's a very low visibility day, low visibility conditions, maybe darkness even, it can be very confusing to try and find your way around an airport in the dark. So yeah. I like how you can import SimBrief and everything is shown, like departures, arrivals, transitions, and yeah, that's another fantastic. Like that integration has really paid dividends. Like I said, I was skeptical about. It's not that I was skeptical about Navigraph, but SimBrief was such a fantastic tool before Navigraph came along.
Sorry, this is Roger 174. Just confirm is descent to flight level 290 or 190?
WestJet 174 for now. It's flight level 290 when you're ready.
We're ready to flight level 290. Thanks, Roger 174.
No problem. Just because SimBrief was such a great tool on its own. It was a fantastic tool. It was well designed, easy to use, very versatile, very realistic. Everything about it was really very nice at the time without any further improvement. And I was just worried that Navigraph was going to kind of jump on that and either lock it down behind a paywall or I don't know what I expected, but just knowing that that was a good tool at the time. Yeah. And that's the thing, yeah, like if you're in the Navigraph charts, you can zoom in pretty much all the way and you get kind of that AMM view as well. So yeah, that kind of already exists a little bit in Navigraph. It's not great, but because this is actually like the AMM view in the jet view chart is actually considered to be part of the taxi chart. So it's not actually part of like the en route charts zoomed in a long way. It's actually just limited to the airport itself. So there's nothing around here. You can't actually scroll past if I try and do that, you can't scroll past the edge of the airport. It's only the airport itself. It's actually, if I just tap the one button, it's just an offshoot of the airport chart itself. That's what the AMM is. It's not actually part of the en route charts, but it's a zoom in. It's a kind of a subset of the taxi chart. WestJet 268. The previously mentioned traffic. He's off right now at your. We're going to call it 3 o'clock for about 40 miles. Northeast bound is it's an 8350. It's also showing flight level 350. My current trajectory shows they are going to pass behind you by about 20 miles. I'll let you know when you are safely by.
Roger that. Thank you very much. WestJet 268.
It's not technically my airspace, but I might as well do some controlling while I can. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't re-pick up the Fort Mac. So what I'll probably do is I'll drop Red Deer and I'll put Fort Mac back up. 8. It was Zulu, so we'll just go back to Zulu. And that way this guy going over to Firebag can look at that. All right, scrolling around. Nothing much happening here. One more guy to depart Edmonton. He's going to Fort Mac if he ever leaves. Icebird for all, and we also have VFR Navigraph. Yes, that also was one of the greatest changes I think to Navigraph too. Okay, there's a lot of greatest changes to Navigraph, but it's one of those things where it's like it's so well done, it's so well run. They develop useful tools. You can tell these guys enjoy simming themselves because they develop useful tools that you want to see. And I remember that. Yeah, it used to be that the only way you could really get good.
Edmonton Center, WestJet 4103. Just let them off at flight level 370. Just wonder if I can step out of the flight deck for 5 minutes.
WestJet 4103, and not a problem. Let me know when you're back, please.
Will do, thank you. WestJet 4103.
Yeah, Icebird for all. Yeah, so I remember I used to do a bunch of VFR flying. I had a number of different, some of them quite long VFR flights that I ended up doing, and I used to use SkyVector. So if you've never seen it before, SkyVector was also a very useful tool. It was basically like a Google map almost, where you could pretty much just zoom in and plot a route, between origin destination, and it was based on VFR charts. I think you could also display the IFR charts, but it was the only place back in the day you could find. It was the only place back in the day where you could actually find up-to-date VFR charts for the U.S. It was the only place that had it in a format that was probably usable. Really, I should cop to that. You could probably find some charts here and there, but like it was like Google Maps. You could scroll around the whole thing. It was all blended. All the charts were blended together. It was a full VFR chart, but it was the actual it was scanned to the actual VFR charts. It's not like the vector graphics that Navigraph uses now, but I remember flying around. But yeah, for a long time, Navigraph was pretty much just IFR only. They only had IFR charts, so it was great when they finally were able to get these VFR charts in there as well. I think that was also a fantastic addition to Navigraph's stable of products, for lack of a better way to put it. They have done some fantastic things to make simming more enjoyable, more realistic, and easier. And I think one of the other great things that Navigraph does well is just spanning their product across multiple devices, multiple display vectors, and it looks the same. If you've used the desktop app or you've used the website, you feel comfortable using it in the sim. You feel comfortable using it in SimBrief. You feel comfortable using it on your tablet. It's all very, very similar. WestJet 268, the traffic looks like they're now going to pass at least 12 miles behind your current position, so you can switch to the on-route frequency. Surveillance service terminates. Have yourself a good rest of the day.
So continue to call. Thanks for all the help. WestJet 268.
Take care. WestJet 174, continue descent 10,000, the Edmonton altimeter 3004.
Continue 10,000 and altimeter 3004, WestJet 174.
Yeah, the weather overlay. LOL, if I pop to the shop, I open the app on the phone to make sure I'm not falling out of the sky. Amen. That was another fantastic innovation from Navigraph, was to have telemetry on your chart. And there used to be... Well, how did I used to track my flights? I think what I used to do was they didn't used to have like full telemetry, but what they did have was they still had, for a long time, they've had at least position updating. So you could send your position to the Navigraph server and it would appear on any of your charts. So I used to do that. I used to do the exact same thing. I used to fire up a flight that was like a 5-hour flight or 4-hour flight. And yeah, I'd probably go and run some errands around town while it was flying. You know, I'd get leveled off and cruise, look around, no ATC for the next 3 hours. Okay, fine, whatever. Log off, go run some errands, but you could still check on the progress of your flight on your Navigraph app, and you'd see that it was still going. And then every once in a while, you'd be like out and about, and you'd be like, "Why am I not getting a signal anymore?" And then what if two things has happened? Either your Navigraph connection died, or your SIM died. But yeah, it's great that you can even just going around the house, like you go to make yourself lunch or whatever. You're upstairs eating lunch, and you're just you can still kind of keep track of your flight, make sure it's still making progress while you're when you're not in front of your computer. So that's and I have to say, like, Navigraph still delivers good money, good value for what they charge. Did a flight from EGBB to PAFA this way today in the 78X. Ooh, that's a long one. That's got to be a good 5 or 6 hour flight there. EGBB now. Somewhere in Great Britain, but I'm sorry, I don't know EGBB. You'll have to tell me. I know Fairbanks. I know PAFA is Fairbanks, Alaska. All right, and ANA is leaving Birmingham. Okay, sorry, my bad. I'm not that great with British airports.
Edmonton Center, WestJet 4103, back with you in the flight deck.
WestJet 4103 Edmonton, thank you. All right, so he's like almost halfway.
Thank you, very good day. Here's Air Canada 535, vision 4,000 feet.
Air Canada 535 Edmonton, good day. You are identified. Continue climb flight level 230 and proceed direct Davil on course.
Climb flight level 230, proceed direct Davil for Air Canada 535.
WestJet 4103. Fort Mac information is Zulu. The winds there are 150 at 15 and the altimeter 3016. What's your planned approach for Firebag today?
Planned approach, we're going to do runway 17, WestJet 4103.
At WestJet 4103, did you want to do that via Seakick?
Sure, let's do that.
All right, that was an easy sail. WestJet 4103, proceed direct Seakick. You can plan on the RNAV runway 17.
RNAV 17, and can I get the waypoint for that again?
And the initial fix will be SeaKick, Sierra Echo Kilo India Kilo.
Roger, WestJet 41-3, thank you.
All right, let's see here. So he's doing the RNAV Zulu to 20.
And Edmonton Center, WestJet 4103. Did you say direct C kick after Nanu?
WestJet 4103, you can just go direct SeaKick now.
Direct C kick now, WestJet 4103. Thank you.
All right, so SeaKick. All right. Let's see, I got to pull up Edmonton here as well. Because I don't know why it's not showing me downwind waypoints for runway 20 here. It should be. But it just shows just direct because he's got runway 20 programmed in there. Alex 3 arrival for 20. Yeah, it's not showing it, so I'm just going to pull it up here quickly on my Navigraph. Navigraph. All right, and that's, yeah, it's going to go to light. Or okay, so I got that up there. Yeah, the Boeing 767-300 freighter. Well, that's a nice bird. Get a little old, a little long in the tooth, but definitely a nice bird. That's one that, yeah, the 5.7 are two airplanes that I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of interest in if there's some good renditions. Even the 8.7, and the funny thing is like that ever since Microsoft teamed up with Working Title or Asobo brought Working Title kind of into the fold, the default airplanes have really upped their game. I've got to say, like even just flying around in the default 8.7, like I would not even dream of flying a default airliner 3 years ago. All right, very good. Thank you for coming out. See ya. I fly it as I get fed up with Airbus just pushing buttons. I love it. Yeah, well, that's true, and that's when you really want. That's when you really want like some good interactivity. That's one of the things that is often missing, I think, for us as simmers is we're just point clickers and we're just pointing and clicking buttons. I think I think you'd probably enjoy the Airbus more if you had some more interactivity to it. Like I am so looking forward to Mini FCU. I think it's going to be such a wonderful addition to my simming. A wonderful change of pace to be able to actually use altitude and heading and speed knobs properly, and not only just turn them but pull and push them. Oh, it's going to be a wonderful thing. WestJet 4103, when ready, descend flight level 290.
When ready, descend flight level 290, WestJet 4103.
Air Canada 535, climb flight level 250.
Climb flight level 250, Air Canada 535.
All right, so Calgary arrival is just logging off now, so I'm going to reopen my Calgary views here. Calgary ground, there we go. So I got my Calgary views back up and ready to go because he logged off. So I was here. The bunch of controllers have come and gone now. Do you fly an MSFS? I'm an X-Plane 12, or do I fly both? Personally, I fly MSFS mostly because of the scenery. The first day I saw that scenery, I was just blown away by it. And I have tried X-Plane 11, and I liked it. I did like it. But I have a hard time. I'm kind of all in on one platform. The only trouble with kind of crossing multiple platforms is like, oh, I have this airport and that platform, this airport and that platform, and there's days where I definitely feel the temptation by X-Plane, mostly for the certain aircraft where you can't get a high quality rendition in MSFS yet. Hopefully, Dash 8 up looking your way. The Q400 is probably the #1 airplane I would like to have in MSFS that I do not have in MSFS. Yeah, that is probably one of my top airplanes at this point. You know what I should do? I should actually open up my other Edmonton view because I'm actually setting these guys up for 20 now. All right, that'll do. Yeah, so I am pretty hardcore committed to MSFS, and it's mostly the scenery. The scenery adds such a level to it. X-Plane can't quite meet yet on that regard, and it's not necessarily the airport sceneries per se, but it's the overall scenery. Yeah, there is no auto ortho in X-Plane 12 for better scenery. I know, and that's the only thing that I don't. That's what keeps me away from X-Plane as a permanent kind of like, hey, I could do this, because I realize like the modeling is better. There is auto ortho. Oh, there is auto ortho. It's amazing how one letter changed the meaning of your sentence. Well, I may have to revisit X-Plane then again, because they definitely do have a better flying model, and there's certain unique airplanes you can get in X-Plane that you really can't get a good model of in MSFS. Yeah, and it's funny because like I tend to use the simming to try and be pretty realistic. Oh, that's just a typo. It's not even an English thing. It's funny how one letter that got mistyped. It got changed.
Acanta 535 request flight level 200 as cruising.
Air Canada 535, that's approved. Climb flight level 210.
Climb flight level 210 for Acanta 535.
Cook 70, you're just leaving my airspace to the southeast, and the Montreal Centre's not online. Switch to the en route frequency. Surveillance service terminates, and have a great day.
Switching to unit count. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Yourself, Cook 70.
Yeah, in terms of like for me, I do have quite a few things. I don't have a switch panel or radio panel, and those are two things that I kind of like. My setup, I have just an old Logitech yoke, still does the job. It's very basic, but the yoke works. I did last year get myself a Honeycomb, or is it the beginning of this year? Got myself the Honeycomb Bravo, which is fantastic with the throttle quadrant.
4103, leaving flight level 370 for 290.
WestJet 4103, thank you very much. Continue to send 10,000, the Fort Mac altimeter 3016.
Down to 10,000, WestJet 4103, 3016 on the altimeter.
The only other thing I have is I have rudder pedals right now, and again they're pretty basic, but I am looking forward to getting that mini FCU panel. That's going to be fantastic. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to having that mini FCU. I kind of would love a radio panel as well. The other thing that I think is really a hugely useful tool, and it bugs me that I can't use it with my favorite airplane, and that is just having the tablet. Just having this here tablet and having the ability to put a CDU on that. That is huge, because half your time spent interacting with the airplane, especially in the pre-flight phase, is just typing stuff into the CDU, and being able to do that without having to go move your mouse around the screen and go click, click, click on the various buttons. Oh, that's such an excruciating experience, and that's not at all realistic how that experience really functions. So I really, and it disappoints me to no end that we can't use that with the Phoenix, and I get it. I understand the reason why, but it still is a disappointment, regardless of them having a very valid reason or not. It's still a big disappointment. That is one of the biggest things that I would love to see and change. I hope in the future, and I hope they can find a way to do it. WestJet 174, proceed direct Dudco, descend 6,000.
Jet Echo 6000, Roger 174.
Yeah, that to me will be huge. If we could get an FCU into the Phoenix that works with the Phoenix. I like to use a nice MSFS, and since the sim without motion never will be a real sim, I only want to see the scenery. I like to do the procedures. See, and to me, yeah, like the it's not that the scenery is the be-all and end-all, but having seen how good the scenery could be in MSFS, I found, the couple times where I've tried to go back, I've gone back and I've flown P3D a couple of times because I had a real hankering one day to fly the 747, and not the cheap default one that we originally had in MSFS, but like a real PMDG 747. I had a hankering to fly that, so I fired up P3D. It ditto for the Dash 8. One day I had a real hankering to just fly the Q400, and the only way I could do it was fire up P3D, and it's like, oh, this airplane feels great, but then I looked out the window at the generic land class scenery in P3D, and I'm just like, I just can't do it. I just can't look at that anymore. And if you go back, like in my YouTube channel, like the last episode of the previous season of A Pilot's Life, where we did the flight and Microsoft, for whatever reason, kicked me off their server. And all of a sudden, I couldn't receive any streaming data. So for the first 10 minutes, it was okay. But then as time went on, I went further and further from where I was last positioned when I had a connection, and it was not loading any more satellite scenery. And I ended up flying over land class scenery into Seattle, and it was just so plain and boring and repetitive. I hated it. I really, really, really hated it. And that's one of the reasons. Like I can't go back to satellite scenery. It's so generic, and the trouble with the generic scenery is that then the airports stand out like sore thumbs. That was the problem. Was that you can't the airports are different, so they stand out the second you see them. Whereas with satellite scenery, the airports kind of blend in with everything else, which is the way it is in the real world. So yeah, I can't go back to satellite loaded scenery. But and I have Avia server too, but the trouble is that Phoenix does not allow you to use the Avia server software with their aircraft. It's just the limitation. They are not allowed to publish an API where you can access any of their variables outside of the sim through any means, whether it be this is going to be the only problem with the mini FCU, is that they're not going to be able to display numbers on the screen. I can push and pull those knobs, and that information will go into the Phoenix, but Phoenix does not allow any information to come out, and that's part of their programming. That's part of the that's part of what the agreement that they signed to use the software that they use, to use the code that they use. WestJet 4103, descend 4000. You're cleared Firebag, RNAV runway 17, Seakick transition.
Down to 4,000, cleared RNAV, runway 17, Firebag by the Seakick transition, WestJet 4103.
And let's just see here. WestJet 174, descend 5,000 at Dudco. You're cleared Edmonton Airport, RNAV Zulu, runway 20, Dudco transition.
Descend 5,000 by Dudco, clear RNAV Zulu, runway 20 by Dudco transition, WestJet 174.
And Icebird for all, I did actually try that. I did actually try remote MCDU for the Phoenix, and I cannot get it to work on my system. It just simply will not connect to the sim. It just, if you fire it up, you try to connect, it waits a couple seconds, 5-10 seconds, it goes kind of blank and looks like it's trying to connect, and it never establishes a connection. I've tried it. I tried it for about a week. I tried different things, different combinations. I tried removing my antivirus and my firewall. It doesn't give an error. It just doesn't connect. It just, you click connect. It goes kind of blank for about 10 seconds, like it's trying to establish a connection, and then it just goes back to the original screen. And I've been unable to find any information to try and counteract that. I tried for about a week to get it working because I thought it was, again, a fantastic idea. It was something that I really wanted to do. I could not make it work with I just couldn't make it work. It would never start up. Like I installed it, followed all the instructions, even uninstalled it and reinstalled it a second time, and just would not connect. I probably do. There's a lot of stuff running on my PC at the end of the day, so maybe there is something conflicting running with it. But yeah, I've tried to kind of find some information about it. Unfortunately, because it's one guy who's written it, there's not a whole lot of information out there about it. So I've tried it. I've kind of given up on it for now. I think I wrote one or two messages to try and find some information. I never got any response, so I've kind of given up on it, which is a shame because like it's just the one thing I really think that we need in the sim.
Edmonton, Arctic 1511, flight level 390, correction, level 370.
Arctic 1511 Edmonton, good day, squawk code 1045.
1045, Arctic 1511, good day.
But yeah, that's the part of the problem is like there's no error code generated, so it really doesn't kind of hint at like what
Edmonton
is
Center,
broken
hello,
with
Golf
it.
Lima Oscar Lima with you, flight level 330.
Golf Lima Oscar Lima Edmonton, hello, squawk it in.
Squawk Lima Oscar Lima.
Arctic 1511, you're identified, flight level 370. Let's see here, the information in Edmonton is golf, plan runway 20.
We'll pick up golf and plan runway 20, Arctic 1511, thank you.
Golf Lima Oscar Lima to Edmonton, excuse me. You're identified at flight level 330. The information in Edmonton is golf and plan runway 20.
Plan runway 20, and we have golf Lima Oscar Lima.
We got a lot of inbounds there. Air Canada 535, Fort Mac information is Zulu, plan runway 08.
Information Zulu and platform 08 for Air Canada 535, thanks.
Did you read this? Make sure that if you have the alternate renderer enabled in the Phoenix app, enable the option on the remote MCDU setting page 2. You can't, the trouble is you can't get to the remote MCDU setting page because it just never goes past the initial server launch page. So I can't even get the server to launch. That's the problem. So I can't get to the setting page even. It's disappointing because it's the one thing that I think the Phoenix is really truly missing. Is I would give a lot to have my MCDU on this tablet to be able to pound it into there, because there's nothing worse than clicking with that mouse on an MCDU, because you got to do a lot of clicks to get an airplane set up, whether it be the Airbus or the Boeing. It's a lot of clicks. It's a lot of mouse clicks. All right, he's going to go over the tower in a minute here. WestJet 4103. I have no further traffic observed reported between you and Firebag. You can go to the Unicom for the arrival and give me a call at this frequency, down and clear.
Awesome, thanks for that. We'll switch over to Unicom and we'll give you a call once we're on the ground safely in Firebag, WestJet 4103.
Arctic 1511 has 8 of golf and we'll select the RNAV Zulu runway 20.
Arctic 1511, thanks. Check you're looking for the RNAV Zulu 20. You can play on that.
Arctic 1511, thank you.
WestJet 174, you can contact the Edmonton Tower now, 118.3. Have a great day.
I can point tracing for the service today, Regio 174.
And Air Canada 535, I can't remember if I gave it to you, but the information in Fort Mac is Zulu, plan runway 08.
Information Zulu, runway 08 for Canada 535, thanks.
All right, so now we got an interesting conundrum, because we got two guys that are going to get to, within 2 miles of each other. Who's in the lead here? Who is in the lead? And it would appear that Lima Oscar Lima is in the lead. Lima Oscar Lima Edmonton. Are you able to pick up your speed at all? You're going to be number 1 for the sequence into Edmonton.
Lima Oscar, we're going the fastest we can. We can't go above 280 knots.
Okay, Lima Oscar Lima, just thought I would ask. Thank you. Arctic 1511 Edmonton, what's your present Mach number?
We are 0.785.
All right, Arctic 1511 for the sequence to Edmonton. Slow to Mach decimal 74, please.
0.74 for Arctic 1511.
All right. Yeah. I would love to make that remote MCDU work, because that's the one thing that I really feel is missing. Let's see. This is not the right one. I'm going to close this one. How about the other one? All right. So I'm supposed to have 10 miles in trail at the handoff point. And if I get him back to 7.4 now, look at that. Just already, just getting a little bit of speed shaved off here has built me from 2 to 5 miles. So definitely very reasonable, and I might be able to pick the speed up again for him before we get too far into this here. Good stuff. Good stuff. Looking good. But one more hour. Yeah, one more hour, and then I'm going to be logging off. So if anybody's thinking about flying in, come on down. We got one more hour here in the Edmonton Center before we shut her down for the day. I got a bunch of inbounds here now. I got an inbound to Calgary. I got 3 inbounds to Edmonton. There's a couple guys on the ground in Vancouver still. One to Calgary, one to Winnipeg. There's a few more guys. So probably if that guy's not off the ground the next 5 or 10 minutes out of Vancouver, he won't make it to Calgary before I shut her down. But for these guys that are airborne at this time, they should all be able to make it in. All right, let's see here. All right. Yeah, there we go. That was like the perfect adjustment right there. Pretty much almost 10 miles now. Now, of course, I'll have to monitor this throughout the descent as they start to change their speeds. It'll probably become a little bit more problematic. Arctic 1511. When ready, descend flight level 290, in transition speed 270 knots or less.
I believe that was our discretion to flight level 290 and 270 knots on the transition speed. We'll go.
Arctic 1511, that is correct. Spacing is looking pretty good right now, so I shouldn't have to slow you back anymore. I'll try to give you back some speed if I can.
Arctic 1511.
Lima Oscar Lima Edmonton, when ready, descend flight level 290.
When ready, 290, Lima Oscar Lima.
And Lima Oscar Lima for you, I'll just ask for the best forward speed throughout the descent.
Best forward speed, Lima Oscar Lima.
Air Canada 535 Edmonton, when ready, descend 10,000, the Fort McMurray altimeter 3016.
Where's descent 100 and altimeter 3016 for Air Canada 535.
Pulling up a second Navigraph chart here so I can just have a look at the Fort Mac approaches for runway 08. And Air Canada 535. When you can, let me know which approach you're planning into Fort Mac.
Roger. I think it would take the RNF approach on 08 for Canada 535. And I guess there's no option that I can land on runway 25.
Sorry, say again the last remark.
I guess there's no option that I can land on runway 26.
Air Canada 535. Let's see here. I don't have a whole lot of traffic for Fort Mac right now. The winds are showing 150 at 15. Runway 26 is available if you'd like it. I'm not sure where he's going now.
Okay, but I will take the 08 for a visual experience today. I'm sorry for the confusion. I can't have it.
Air Canada 535 is not a problem at all. And which RNAV approach did you want for runway 08? Do you want the RNAV Zulu or the RNAV Yankee? Strikes me as a novice, and that's fine.
I will take RNAV Yankee for runway 08 for Canada 535.
Air Canada 535. Okay, I copy. You're looking for the RNAV Yankee. Proceed direct Vilta, Victor India Lima Tango Alpha.
Proceed via direct Vilta and Air Canada 535.
Roger. Golf Lima Oscar Lima Edmonton. Continue descent 10,000, the Edmonton altimeter 3004.
3004 on the altimeter, descend 10,000, Lima Oscar Lima.
Arctic 1511, vacated level 370.
Arctic 1511, thank you.
Edmonton Center, good day. WestJet 379 with you is with you, currently at 31,000 feet. We're on our descent on the IGZEP 6 descent. We have information hotel, and we would like to request the ILS 17 left for Calgary.
WestJet 379, squawk cadet.
Squawking ident.
WestJet 379, thank you very much. You're identified descending through flight level 304. Descend now. Actually, for now, descend flight level 230. The Calgary information is hotel, and I copy the request for the ILS 17 left.
Okay, descend on IGZEP 6 to flight level 230, and yes, we do have hotel, and the request is for the ILS 17 left.
Perfect. It seemed like he started down early. I think he took my discretionary descent as an instruction, so that's okay. I downloaded the add-on for the Phoenix now from flightsim.to. First question after starting the A3. First start was firewall protection, yes or no? Did you allow it? Of course I did. Absolutely. Well, there's no point in setting up a server if you don't allow it through your firewall, but for whatever reason, it's allowed through the firewall, but it just does not seem to, I don't know. It doesn't seem to fire up SimConnect. So I don't know why that is. I don't know how to fix it. Frankly, at this point, I've kind of given up on it for the time being. And it is frustrating because it would be such a fantastic addition to the Phoenix. But yeah, I don't know what's stopping it from running. And there's no error code generated. That's the problem. Like if there was at least an error code generated or a log file that I could kind of look through, but I was not even able to find a log file. So I just don't even know what it's doing. It's trying to connect to something that doesn't exist. And yeah, that's the trouble with, like, you know, people that create these little utilities. Flight simulation becomes such a complicated system of so many interdependent software pieces that we're all kind of linking together to try and create a more and more realistic experience. And yeah, like I have an issue in my sim as well with GSX. It almost always fails to start on the first run, and I don't know why. There's something running in the sim. I don't know what it is. I've tried disabling various things in the sim, and it doesn't seem to have an impact. So I don't know what it is. There's something in the sim that is running that is obstructing. Yeah, I don't know what it is that's obstructing it. There's something in my sim that obstructs GSX as well. I'm not sure what that is, what's doing that either. WestJet 379, descend 10,000, the Calgary altimeter 3003.
Send flight level 100 and 3003, WestJet 379.
Arctic 1511, Edmonton, continue descent 10,000, the Edmonton altimeter 3004.
10,000, 3004, Arctic 1511.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not running. I've given up on it. I tried it for about a week, couldn't figure out what was going on with it, and I've given up on it for the time being. Maybe if I get an answer to my queries in the then I might try again. I mean, if there was at least some kind of like error code, like hey, failed to start server, failed to connect to server, something.
Hello, Qatari 753, inbound UVC, and flight level 350.
Qatari 753 Heavy, Edmonton, hello, squawk 7201.
Edmonton Center, hello, Qatari 753, inbound Yankee Victor Charlie, flight level 350.
Qatari 753, how do you read Edmonton? Recent change log for version 1.5. When was version 1.5 published? Version 1.5 was published today. Ha! All right, so it might be worth a try. Well, why give up if... why give up? The only reason I gave up is just because I was putting way too much time into it to begin with. I spent like a week of didn't spend that much time, but probably like 4 or 5 different days. I sat down for at least an hour or two, trying different things and never getting anything different to happen with it. So I can only give so much time to this kind of thing. It should work, and if it did work, it'd be great. And I really am motivated to make it work. Air Canada 535 to send 5,500.
Descend 5,500 for Canada 535.
And Qatari 753 Edmonton, hello, squawk code 7201.
Squawk 7201, Qatari 753.
If I can get it to work, it'd be great. And maybe now that there's a new version out, I will try again. I will uninstall it, just wipe it all completely and try again. Because yeah, I'm not sure what is preventing it from operating. There's a couple things in my sim, because there's also something in my sim that prevents GSX from running properly on the first try. But the funny thing is, it gives an error message, and GSX could not load properly because of unknown add-on. And it literally, instead of having the name of the add-on, it just says unknown add-on. So it doesn't even give me a hint as to what it is that's caused the problem, which is very frustrating.
Edmonton traffic, Edmonton Center, WestJet 4103. We are clear of the one runway at Firebag.
WestJet 4103 Edmonton, thank you very much. Your flight plan is closed. Alerting service terminated. Have yourself a great night.
Thank you, sir. You too. WestJet 4103.
Qatari 753 Heavy, thank you. You're identified. Flight level 350. Welcome. Unfortunately, now the speed differential. Use some sort of antivirus other than, oh yeah, I don't use MS Defender. MS Defender I turn off right away. I have zero faith in Microsoft to actually produce useful software these days. But I have deactivated my antivirus, I've deactivated my firewall, and neither of them make a difference to it. So I don't know if it's that was my first thought, was it's got to be one of those things that's causing an issue, but I've turned them both off, and it has no impact whatsoever on the...
Edmonton Centre, Osprey 71 Alpha Golf with you, flight level 330, 23 miles from Rumra.
Osprey 71 Alpha Golf, Edmonton, hello, squawk ident.
Squawk ident, Osprey 71 Alpha Golf.
The trouble with Microsoft software is it tends to think it knows better than you do. And that is often not the case, as Microsoft has demonstrated over and over again with their software lately, and the operating system alone is just getting absolutely brutal. I shouldn't have to pay money to install Windows to see ads constantly in Windows. Osprey 71 Alpha Golf, your identified flight level 330. The information in Edmonton is Golf, and plan runway 20.
Information Golf and plan to runway 20, Osprey 71 Alpha Golf.
Golf Lima Oscar Lima, continue descent 8,000.
Continue descent 8,000 Lima Oscar Lima.
Yeah, I've used a bunch of different software over the years. The trouble is that, yeah, Microsoft tends to be the worst at blocking things or permitting things without ever telling you. I find they are the absolute worst for that. They like I said, they think they know best for what's going on in your system when it's often not the case. I tend to have very little faith in Microsoft's built-in firewall and antivirus protections. Air Canada 535, you're cleared Fort Mac Airport, RNAV Yankee runway 08, VILTA transition.
Cleared RNAV Yankees runway 08, VILTA transition for Air Canada 535.
I think the other problem I have just with Microsoft Defender in general and most of the Microsoft stuff is that Microsoft is slowly appling their entire operating system. That is, they're hiding everything from you so that you can't ever find out any information about what's going on inside your operating system. They just permit various things to access the internet without ever telling you, and there's no even way to look it up after the fact. Like, that's the Apple way of running things, is we know better than you do. We're going to decide what happens on your computer better than you do. That sort of know-it-all attitude. I really, as someone who's been a computer user for 30 years, I find that we know better than you do attitude to be, at best, to be arrogant and often misplaced. WestJet 379 to send 8,000.
Send 8,000, WestJet 379.
So yeah, I have very little faith in Microsoft to run a useful systems. Golf Lima Oscar Lima, proceed direct app kit.
Proceed direct app kit, Lima Oscar Lima.
And Lima Oscar Lima, keep the speed up 250 knots below 10,000 until advised.
250 knots below 10,000, Lima Oscar Lima.
Arctic 1511, slow to 250 knots or less, please.
Reach 250 knots, Arctic 1511.
You cannot be trusted to do all the things, but when you do need things to do, we won't help you. Microsoft's new corporate policy. Yeah, exactly. And then they won't even trust you. I don't know what's in the hosts file. That's possible. That's absolutely possible if it's relying on an entry in the host file. I don't think I reinstalled Windows probably about 4 months ago, and I haven't modified the host file since. But that being said, there's of course other things that could be changing it. Osprey 71 Alpha Golf, when ready to send flight level 290.
When ready to send 290, Osprey 7 Alpha Golf.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Microsoft has got a lot of very different priorities when it comes to running an operating system, and like I said, like the whole idea of hiding everything from the users is frustrating to say the least. Some people don't need to know everything, but you can't even, in Apple you can't even look up what's going on. You're just left there. Yeah. Anyways, I'm not at home right now, so I can't even check that file. But I'll maybe you're kind of convinced me to try a few more things on it. I played with it for, like I said, like about a week, and I had to give up. I was like, I can't find any solution. Can't figure out even what is causing the error, what's blocking anything. Couldn't figure it out. It was very frustrating to try and very frustrating thing to try and solve. But yeah, like I said, I have very little faith in Microsoft's ability to run an operating system. And this is one of my big pet peeves with Microsoft now, is they're getting out of the operating system and they're getting into the advertising business. It's like, I just want an app. My operating system should be separate from all these things. I shouldn't have your onboard search engines indexing my computer. I shouldn't have ads for your various products being displayed within my operating system. That's sort of, again, arrogance. Like, oh, our product is better. It's like, it probably isn't. Chances are it probably isn't. Microsoft Office became the default productivity software, mostly just through sheer force of will on Microsoft's part, not because they create a better product. Get a Fort Mac ground view going here. Definitely not because they had a superior product, but just simply because it came with everything. And it's one of those things too. It's like, as a service, it's not worth money as a service. There really have not been any substantial improvements to Office in the last 10 to 15 years that have necessitated you to pay a lot more money for it. What am I looking for? Fort Mac. And Golf Lima Oscar Lima, which approach are you planning into Edmonton today?
Lima Oscar Lima, we'd like to get the RNAV Zulu for 20 if possible.
Lima Oscar Lima, plan the RNAV Zulu, proceed direct Dudco.
I was proceed direct, sorry, what was that waypoint?
Lima Oscar Lima, proceed direct Dudco, Delta Uniform Delta Kilo Oscar.
Proceed direct Dudco, Lima Oscar Lima.
So I'm going to try and get him shortcuts. I'm going to try and leave him on course. Even with the speed differential, they end up being there almost at the same time. Arctic 1511, descend 9,000.
9,000, Arctic 1511.
Darn slow citation. Where's he going? CYRT. Oh, Rankin Inlet. Yeah. I'm not going to be around long enough probably to handle that arrival. Well, maybe.
Air Canada 535, request descent.
Air Canada 535, you are cleared. The RNAV Yankee runway 08.
Yes, forward, I'm sorry. Air Canada 535.
Roger. Wow, I'm actually going to have to clear somebody to land. We have to clear 2 people to land here. One at Fort Mac and one at Calgary. Huh. I should probably bring up my wins again. Okay. So let's do this. I'll wait till I see him turn. Turning towards final anyways. Everything's going to sort of happen all at once here, isn't it? This is going to be the fun. It's like, flashing between like 6 different screens because everything's going to happen at once. These guys are going to be cleared to the approach. This guy's going to be vectored to the approach. This guy's going to be cleared to land. I should really start just clearing some stuff off my plate. Air Canada 535. The wind's 13016, gust 22, clear to land, runway 08.
Clear to land, runway 08, Air Canada 535.
Golf Lima, Oscar Lima at Dudco. You're cleared Edmonton Airport, RNAV Zulu, runway 20.
From Dudco, cleared to RNAV Zulu, runway 20 into Edmonton, Lima, Oscar Lima.
Arctic 1511, speed 230 or less.
230, Arctic 1511.
And Lima, Oscar Lima, maintain the 250 knots for now. I'll try to get you slowed down as you approach Dudco.
Roger, will maintain 250, Lima, Oscar Lima.
WestJet 379, descend 6,500.
6,500, WestJet 379.
Got one guy on the ground, 1402, no flight plan. Try and keep it higher a little bit longer too, because higher equals higher speed. Okay, he's turning final. He hasn't started down yet. Osprey 17, correction, Osprey 71 Alpha Golf. When ready, descend 10,000. Edmonton altimeter 3004.
When ready, descend 10,000 on altimeter 3004. Osprey 71 Alpha Golf.
WestJet 379, turn right heading 020, vectors to final.
020 and vectors to final, WestJet 379.
All right, I'll start him down another 5 miles here. He's just on final approach. Oh, lots of stuff all happening at the same time here. Good times. Good times. All right, Osprey started down. He's getting there. I'm going to need one more turn to final in a minute here. This guy's going to start the turn up that way. Golf Lima, Oscar Lima, Edmonton. Descend now to 5,000 and cross Dudco at 5,000. You're still cleared for the approach.
Descend 5,000 and cross Dudco 5,000, Lima, Oscar Lima.
All right. Finding is the EFB is available remotely, but not the CDU. Simbox has managed to do it, so the CDU is showing on a tablet. So okay, so you got it to work as well. Obviously, there's something on my computer. Yeah, we're trying to get the free CDU to work, and I don't know what's going on with my computer. I've kind of given up on it for now. And Arctic 1511, looks like you're a little bit off course. Turn left direct Dudco.
Left direct Dudco, Arctic 1511.
Arctic 1511, thank you. Descend 6,000.
Descend 6,000, Arctic 1511.
All right. And WestJet 379, turn right heading 140 for the intercept. Cleared the ILS 17 left.
140 for the intercept and cleared for the ILS 17 left, WestJet 379.
Air Canada 535, welcome to Fort Mac. Turn right at the end, taxi Foxtrot Juliet to the gate.
Thank you very much, Foxtrot to the gate, second 535.
I guess I can drop this guy here. How's the speed looking? At Golf Lima, Oscar Lima, speed 210 knots, please.
210 knots, Lima, Oscar Lima.
And Vancouver Center, WestJet 379, we're established on the localizer for 17 left.
WestJet 379, thank you. WestJet 9900, depart CYFI back to Fort Mac. All right, I guess I'm probably going to go off 17 based on the Arctic 1511, speed 210 knots, please.
Arctic 1511, we're at 210.
Okay, sorry. Couldn't remember if I gave it to him or not. Arctic 1511, descend 5,000, and at Dudco, you're clear at the Edmonton Airport, Arnav Zulu, runway 20.
And descend to 5,000, that beach said clear for the Arnav Zulu, runway 20, Arctic 1511.
Arctic 1511, that's all correct. You're going to be about 8 miles in trail of a citation, so maintain speed 210 knots or less for now, and I'll keep slowing you as he slows ahead.
Arctic 1511, Roger, 210, and third approach.
We got Winnipeg Center online. Oh my gosh. I thought I saw something change. It's not one I see all that often. Okay, I only downloaded it to see how it works. Sent me the link. Oh, thank you. My phone didn't beep, or did it beep and I just ignored it? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, here is the link. CDO for Phoenix. Yeah, no, I have that. I have it, and I can't get it to work. That's my problem. I have it. I've downloaded it. I've installed it twice. Just can't seem to get it to work for whatever reason. It just does not seem to fire up on my computer, and I don't know why. I spent, like I said, like about a week working on it, on and off, trying it with different combinations of stuff, and I just gave up on it. WestJet 379, Calgary winds are 140 at 8. Clear to land, runway 17 left.
Yep, and we're just fully established on the localizer, ready to go. Clear to land, runway 17 left, WestJet 379.
Lima, Oscar Lima, speed 190 knots.
190 knots, Lima, Oscar Lima.
Arctic 1511, speed 190.
British 190, Arctic 1511.
Edmonton Center, hello again. WestJet 9900 with you on the ground in Firebag with information Zulu. Looking to pick up our clearance down to Fort McMurray.
WestJet 9900, do you want to depart runway 17?
Yeah, we'll do 17, WestJet 9900.
WestJet 9900, Roger. You're cleared to Fort Mac via your flight plan route. Depart runway 17, maintain 12000, squawk 0721.
WestJet 9900 cleared down to Fort McMurray via flight plan route. Depart runway 17, squawk 0721.
And WestJet 9900, your readback is correct. Your clearance is valid now. Cancelled if not airborne by, we'll call it 1945 Zulu. You can switch back to Unicom for the advisories and report airborne on this frequency.
All right, we'll switch back over to Unicom and give you a call back once we're airborne. WestJet 9900, thank you.
Lima Oscar Lima, cross ONGL at 160 knots. Contact the tower now, 118.3.
118.3 cross ONGL, was it 130 knots, Lima Oscar Lima?
160 knots, please.
160 knots, Lima Oscar Lima. See you.
Arctic 1511, slow now to 170 knots.
Rich speed 170, Arctic 1511.
All right.
Second 535, looking off. Thank you very much for the great ATC. Have a great ATC. Have a very nice day, and to the next time. Goodbye.
Okay, out of 535, thanks very much for flying. We'll see you next time. And I would tend to agree that it seems like it's a firewall issue, except that even when the firewall is shut down, it doesn't make a difference. Even when the firewall is completely shut down, it still doesn't work. So I don't know why. I was very frustrated with it, but yeah, that's why I had to give up on it. I spent like a week working on it. I'm just like I can't spend my life sitting here restarting it, shutting it down, restarting it, shutting it down, tweaking a setting, shutting it down, restart. Like I just couldn't do it forever and ever. So I tried. I tried searching all the comments for help, and most people seem to get it to work, but there's a small subset of people that can't get it to work. And maybe you're right, maybe it is something in the firewall, but even with the firewall shut down, it doesn't work. So I don't think, I shut down the firewall, I shut down the antivirus, doesn't make a difference. So that's my first go-to thought, but it doesn't seem to be that that's what's causing the issue. Arctic 1511, cross ONGL at 160 knots, and you can contact the tower now, 118.3. Spacing looks good. Traffic's about 6 miles ahead.
All right, we'll cross ONGL at 160 knots or less, or at 160, and we'll call the tower now. 3.
Take care. Osprey 71 Alpha Golf, descend 8,000.
Descend 8,000, Osprey 71 Alpha Golf.
All right, this guy should be almost on the ground. No, he's not quite on the ground yet, but he's close. And then I got one guy coming out of Firebag going to Fort Mac. He'll probably be able to do that flight in the time I have left. Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe you're right.
And tower Arctic 1511 is with you about 8 miles out.
And Arctic 1511 still with arrival. Flip the switch.
Oh, thank you.
No worries. Happens to all of us sometimes. You put the frequency in, look at it, hey, it looks good, and then you just forget to press that magic flip button. Ah, well, what are you going to do? All right, that was kind of fun, though. That was a little bit of work to get that sequence built there, but that worked out nicely in the end. I'm getting close. Got the software loading on the tablet, just loading MSFS, which takes 100 hours. Yeah. Yeah, it was good for a while, and then it got bloated again. I don't know what happened I think it was after after Sim Update 10, suddenly the load times went to like almost 0. Like the whole sim would load in like 3 minutes. WestJet 379, welcome to Calgary. You can continue left on to Delta, and where are you parking?
We are at Concourse C, Charlie, and Gate 57.
All right, WestJet 379. I checked Charlie 57. Taxi Delta Juliet. Hold short of Juliet Tango.
Delta Juliet and hold short of Juliet Tango at WestJet 379.
And Osprey 71 Alpha Golf. Which approach are you planning into Edmonton?
Planning the RNAV Zulu runway 20.
Osprey 71 Alpha Golf, thank you. Proceed direct Dudco.
Direct Dudco, Osprey 71 Alpha Golf.
Yeah, it was good for a while, and that's the thing that really kind of frustrates me is they found some way to tweak it. For a while it was good. It was like the sim loaded in like less than 5 minutes, and now we're back to like 10 to 15 minutes again. Like I press, I run the executable for the sim, and then I walk away. I go make myself a cup of coffee. I go, tuck my kids into bed. I go find something to do for 10 minutes because it's not going to be ready. The one thing you can sometimes do, and then sometimes disadvantage, is you can start doing some flight planning. So while you're thinking about, while your sim is thinking about loading, you can pull up your sim brief and start planning a flight. But other than that, like I just run away from the computer for a little while. I'm just like, I guess I'm not. Yeah, I expected not to load. Like when I do my streams, I usually start with rebooting the computer, and then before breakfast I reboot the computer. After breakfast I go down and I run the sim, and then I take my kids to school. And if I'm lucky, by the time I get back from taking them to school, it's probably started up. That's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but yeah, it was great for a while. That's the funny thing, was it was great for a while. Like it would load in like 5 minutes, and then now it's back to being bloated again. I don't know why. Flight planning, what's that? Yeah, well, see, when you want to know how much fuel you're actually going to burn, and you don't want to just load full fuel everywhere you go, then you gotta sort of plan it. Also, half of it is just like, where am I going to fly today? Half of it is just like that decision, like I don't even know where I want to fly. I've been to got too many airports, and yet I still want more. I want that Montreal. That Montreal's it's got to be. Oh, that's one of the few airports left in Canada that I really need to kind of complete my collection, if you will. All right, so we got the 2 arrivals in Edmonton. This Qatari guy, he's going to be in Edmonton airspace for the next 2.5 hours. So I'm going to be out of here before he ever gets to the end of his airspace. I'm going to be out of here in another no more than 30 minutes, and I might even cut it a little sooner than that, just because the traffic flow is starting to peter out now. There's one more guy inbound to Calgary who might make it here in time. The guy in Edmonton airspace, no, there's no way, because I don't have more than 30 minutes. There's one guy out here. This guy here is inbound to Calgary. He's gonna make it. It's gonna be kind of tight. So I might bail here. It's been a good 3 hours. Has it been 3 hours? It's been 2.5 hours. 3 hours? So it's been almost 3 hours now. I might bail shortly on this. It's been a lot of fun. Microsoft find out that you need time to take the kids to school, so now we're all screwed. Yeah. It's the only way to get simmers to stop simming is to make the sim take forever to load. Oh god, these guys are going to sit in their basement forever. At least you get some vitamin D for about 5 or 10 minutes while the sim loads. I use Android. I have my work tablet is an Apple, but everything else I have is Android based or Windows based. There's days where I'm almost thinking about going to Linux. Not that I need another operating system in my life. I used to have Linux on my computer years and years ago, and it was fun, but it was a lot of personal work to kind of keep it going. There's days, like the way Microsoft is running their stuff these days, there's days where Linux is starting to look very attractive again as an operating system, as something where you have control. Like this is the thing that bugs me about so much of this stuff is these companies want so much control of all your data, your devices, everything. And Windows is exactly the same. Like I refuse to use a Windows, like a Microsoft login to log into my operating system on my own computer. It's one thing if you're on a, if you're trying to use some kind of remote service, but to just log into the operating system on my computer and operate my computer, I shouldn't have to have an online presence just to do that. This is my computer. I use it how I choose to use it, and Microsoft doesn't need to know anything about that. So I refuse to use any kind of Microsoft account just to log into Windows on my computer. And this is the trouble. Like Windows is just trying to get more and more adamant about forcing you into this, and it's getting harder and harder to get around that. Osprey 71 Alpha Golf, descend 5,000. You're cleared Edmonton Airport, RNAV Zulu, runway 20, Dudco transition.
Descend 5,000, cleared RNAV Zulu, runway 20 via Dudco transition, Osprey 7 Alpha Golf.
WestJet 379, taxi Juliet Tango into gate 57.
Juliet Tango into gate 57, and thanks so much for all your help. WestJet 379.
No problem. Thanks for flying. Yeah, I've really grown to despise Apple for so many reasons, and part of it is just like their design over their form over function attitude. It's like, well, as long as it looks nice, we don't even care if it's functional, as long as it looks nice, because it functions until it doesn't function. Then you try and find help on it, and nobody knows anything. And you can never find. There's no diagnosing any problems. It just doesn't work. Yeah, it's a very slick operating system for someone who doesn't know a lot about using electronic systems. But the second you want to try and delve deep into it, the Apple just blocks you at every chance. They just like, oh, it just doesn't work. Don't ask us why. Don't ask for a reason why. Don't ask for a log. Don't ask for an error code. It just doesn't work. And then you try and fix it. It just doesn't. All you can do is reboot your device endlessly, hoping that it's going to eventually fix it. We have this problem all the time at work with devices that just don't want to work, that don't want to connect to things, and there's no error code, there's no nothing. It's just, you're just sort of sitting there staring at it, rebooting it over and over again, hoping that eventually it's going to work. I've seen people who just want to take their iPad and just toss it through the window, and I don't blame any of them. When it doesn't work, and it's just like you have no way of figuring out or understanding why. That's the frustrating part. Android isn't much better for that. I'll say that. Their latest trick of soldering components to the motherboard so you can't upgrade it. That was the final straw for me. They do that with the MacBooks now, right? Everything's soldered in. You can't upgrade anything. It's like, yeah. The trouble is like the computer products have become much too mainstream. It used to be like it was a fairly niche hobby. Only the nerds really understood what they were doing and how to improve it. And and then as it sort of became more and more mainstream and people sort of figured out how to do this stuff, then they're like, well, we got to prevent people from upgrading their devices. Just pay us if they want to upgrade again. It's like, yeah, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing with cars now. Like, you can't upgrade anything in your car. People are going and putting in theft deterrent devices in their cars, and then the dealer's telling them, no, you have to take it out because it conflicts with our computer. And so, it's causing a car to malfunction. It's like, well, why are you designing a car that you can't even install a theft deterrent device into with when auto theft is on the rise? Oh, wait, it's because you want to just have the car get stolen, have us make an insurance claim, and have the insurance company pay for another vehicle. And meanwhile, we're all paying higher and higher insurance rates because auto companies are making lousier and lousier automobiles that are harder and harder to repair. Making automobiles that are harder and harder to repair. You can't modify in any way, shape, or form from the original product. It's like, once you buy that car is yours. The car doesn't belong to the manufacturer anymore. They shouldn't be, and there is something to be said for, that you have to certainly protect like certain safety devices on there, but the very fact that there's legal protections for these safety devices, like you have to have turn signals and an airbag and and all these things. There's no need to set some kind of electronic digital impediment to you being able to modify your car on the off chance that you might modify one of these safety devices. Regardless of whether you can or cannot do it, it is still illegal. If you do it, it's illegal. The whole idea of like, oh, we have to keep this all to ourselves. It's all proprietary. It's very frustrating. I'm not looking forward to going car shopping. I'm going to need a new car in the next couple of years, and I am very much not looking forward to it because nothing about the current shape of the auto industry in North America makes any of these vehicles attractive. They're all too big, too heavy, and way too over-engineered way too expensive, way too loaded with things you don't want to have in a car. You don't want to have like fancy entertainment device in a car. You don't want to have giant touchscreens in a car. You just want knobs, buttons, a radio. That's it. That's all a car needs. Power windows don't even need to be in a car, really. I mean, it's a nice thing to have, but it's something you don't even need. But there's so much pushed into cars these days you don't even need. But consumers don't even have a choice because every car comes with all of this overwhelming array of devices you don't need. Just so they can sell a few more, or just so they can sell a few more cars and maybe charge a little bit more for it. Where's this WestJet guy? I gave him till 1945. He ain't off the ground yet. He's getting pretty tight. He was going to be the one guy that might... Let's see here. This guy could pretty much enter my airspace on the hour. Where is this WestJet 9900? Lots of people logging in all of a sudden, and now I'm going to bail on them. Yeah, what are you going to do? It's VATSIM. People come, people go. Osprey 71 Alpha Golf. You can contact the Edmonton Tower now, 118.3. Have a great day.
Tower on 118.3, Osprey 71 Alpha Golf. Thanks, ATC.
Take care. All right. Well, that's it. The only guy that I have really left. So I got the Qatari here, and he's just en route. He's going to be en route for hours, so I'm not too not too worried about him. WestJet. If you don't get going in the next 2 to 3 minutes here, I'm going to bail on you as well. Oh, and I think he is airborne. Okay, he's lucky. He's airborne just in time. Fort Mac still favoring 08 pretty well, yep. Let me make sure I got my Fort Mac charts up and ready to go.
Edmonton Center, WestJet 9900 with you passing 4,000.
WestJet 9900 Edmonton, squawk ident, the Fort Mac altimeter 3014.
3014, WestJet 4103. Sorry, 9900.
Shouldn't really tag him up until I see that ident, but anywho. And WestJet 9900, did you squawk ident there?
And now, WestJet 9900.
WestJet 900, perfect. Thank you very much. You are identified climbing through 7,200, climb 12,000, direct 2 MiG, and I take you, do you want the RNAV Zulu for runway 08?
Oh yeah, RNAV Zulu for 08 if we could, WestJet 9900.
WestJet 9900, roger. You plan on that. The Fort Mac information is Alpha, and the altimeter is 3014.
3014, information Alpha, WestJet 9900.
So I can get a display on the tablet, but I can't interact with it. Well, that's progress. For me, it's about the interaction. I almost want that more than the display. I want to be able to tap buttons on the tablet, which are more realistically positioned, and is much more realistic than mouse clicking on tablets on the screen. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want out of my remote CDU. I want to be able to tap the buttons on the screen rather than have to mouse click my way through the interface. That's not what I want. So, yeah, it's great that you're getting it to work though. So maybe I'll try it again. I'm not against trying it again. I'm just I found the experience the first time around very frustrating. I couldn't figure it out. There's not a whole lot of help with it because it's a fairly small, it's one person who wrote this piece of software. He's done a little bit of support for it. There's been some questions. It's not a big, widely used piece of software. So I tried to find information about it, and there wasn't a whole lot of assistance. That's the only problem. WestJet 9900, when ready to send 4,000.
When ready, down to 4,000, WestJet 9900.
AirCat 1145, you here? So we'll get this WestJet onto the ground, and that'll be pretty much the end of it. After 3.5 hours, I think I've done my fair share of VATSIMing for the day anyways. Can't complain. I definitely put in my hours. And Phil, at some point we got to get together and we got to do like a tag team control somewhere. Pick one of these FIRs and just you, me, and Travis just hit it up again. Local arrival center again, just for fun. We have not gotten enough stuff in. Are you traveling again next week? You said you're going west next week. That's right. Yeah, you said that. Yeah. Maybe that actually next week's not good for me, but the week after would be great. I'm off for like 5 days the week after, so that would probably be a pretty good week for us to plan doing something together. We could do Edmonton. Edmonton's fun. We could do one guy in Calgary, one guy in Edmonton, and one guy doing center between. Something, anyways. Something. Yeah, we just haven't controlled in a while, so it'd be nice to get together and do one of those again. Give it a good solid 2 or 3 hours.
Edmonton Center, good afternoon, Air Canada 1145 at flight level 370, about 90 miles west of the left bridge VOR.
Air Canada 1145, Squawk Cadet. Air Canada 1145, thank you very much. You're identified at flight level 370. WestJet 9900, you're cleared the Fort Mac Airport, RNAV Zulu, runway 08 to make transition.
Clear nav, RNAV Zulu, runway 08 to make transition, WestJet 9900.
It's funny, I was just thinking about this the other day. I had the first departure out of Windsor I've seen in a dog's age, and I ended up, it just got me thinking about the special event we had for Dean back in the day, and this was now
Edmonton Center,
a while ago.
1145, is okay if I step away for just 15 minutes, just finishing dishes.
Air Canada 1145. Let's see here. Can you be back in 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes works for me, Air Canada 1145.
Perfect. I'm going to be handing you to Winnipeg in about 10 minutes.
Roger, thanks for that. 10 minutes.
Yeah, so let's see here. Yeah, so I was just thinking about that video we did, the event we had for Dean, and I was just going back and finding it now.
Edmonton Center, Golf Hotel Foxtrot down at Calgary, looking to do VFR to Banff.
All right. And sorry, what was the call sign again in Calgary?
It's Golf Hotel Echo Foxtrot.
Golf Hotel Echo Foxtrot. And you said you're VFR to Banff. Are you landing Banff or just VFR there and back?
VFR to Banff.
All right, stand by. And did you file a flight plan at all?
Negative.
Okay, perfect. We'll find one in the list then.
If it helps, I can file it for you.
Hotel Echo Foxtrot's all right. I've got the screen up. Just say your type of aircraft and your planned altitude.
TBM 9, and let's go with 2,000 feet.
All right, I copy the 2,000 feet. I'm not sorry, I missed it. Did you say TBM 9?
Affirm.
All right, very good. Golf Echo Foxtrot, that works for me. For you, squawk code 1216.
1216 in the box, Hotel Echo Foxtrot. Thank you.
Hotel Echo Foxtrot, thank you. Information in Calgary is Juliet, 17 right for departure, and it was IMC earlier. I have not kept a close eye on it. Let me just check here.
Hotel Echo Foxtrot, sorry, missed the
And yeah, Hotel Echo Foxtrot, it is runway 17 right for departure. Yeah, it looks like it's VMC now. It's all 6,000 plus here, so you're good to go. Let me know when you're ready to taxi.
We'll do Hotel Echo Foxtrot.
Oh, we got one departure there, VFR. Da, 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 da. Oh. Yeah, so it just got me thinking about this, so I'm going to just post this right here for you guys to kind of watch after the stream ends, because I'm gonna pull the plug on it in about 10 minutes. But if anybody is interested in it, but yeah, it just got me thinking about this. I was just had a departure out of Windsor the last time I worked Toronto, and I thought to myself, can't remember the last time I saw a departure out of Windsor. So this was me controlling. This was 2020, I think it was the end of 2020. 2021, sorry, October 2021, when we had a flying event in Windsor to celebrate our departed friend who passed away. He was an adamant controller and supporter.
Edmonton Center, WestJet 108, looking flight level 370, about 40 north of Cranbrook VOR.
WestJet 108, Edmonton, hello, Squawk Ident. WestJet 108, thank you very much. Identified flight level 370. When ready, descend flight level 230. Calgary information is Juliet. Plan runway 17 right.
And WestJet 108, would we be possible to get 17 left?
WestJet 108, that's not a problem. You can plan 17 left.
Okay, we'll pick up Juliet and plan for 17 left, WestJet 108.
WestJet 9900, Fort Mac, winds 140, 12, gust 23, clear to land, runway 08.
Clear to land, runway 08, thanks for that wind check, WestJet 9900.
All right. 4 more minutes, guys. Whatever you do in 4 minutes.
Edmonton, good evening. Login 313, flying TBM 850, flight level 280. I think I'm in your airspace, en route for Yankee Zulu Sierra.
Logan 313, Edmonton. Yeah, you're just entering my airspace now. Squawk code 0352.
Squawking 0352, login 313, thank you.
0352, 172 Bravo Charlie.
And somebody else was called Edmonton there, say again?
172 Bravo Charlie, climbing at 5,500.
And November 172 Bravo Charlie, you just departed Edmonton, is that correct? Northeastbound?
Correct. 172 Bravo Charlie.
November 172 Bravo Charlie, Squawk Cadet.
Squawk Cadet 172 Bravo Charlie.
Number 172 Bravo Charlie, thank you. You're identified at 5,500, the Edmonton altimeter 3004. And are you looking for VFR flight following to Fort Mac?
Roger, yes. We'll do a flight following to Fort Mac.
Number 172 Bravo Charlie, no problem. Remain VFR at all times, and in the future, when you do call a center controller initially, try to give your position as well. I've got I've got an airspace at 3,000 miles wide by 3,000 miles tall, so it helps.
Roger that. We'll do. Sorry about that. 172 Bravo Charlie. We'll remain VFR.
No problem. Logan 313, identified flight level 280. Thank you.
Identified, login 313. Cheers, thanks.
Edmonton Center, hello again. Golf Fleet Moscow Lima is over at Calgary with India, looking at a VFR clearing to Banff as well.
That's what I forgot to. I was going to look up Banff. Golf Lima Oscar Lima, stand by. Oh.
And Edmonton Center, WestJet 9900 on short final runway 08.
WestJet 9900, you are clear to land, runway 08.
Cleared land 08, WestJet 9900.
All right, Golf Lima, Oscar Lima, just confirm the type of aircraft again, and what's your planned altitude to Banff?
Golf Lima, we're a TBM 930, and I'll say the altitude in a minute, sorry.
All right, Golf Lima, Oscar Lima, I got TBM 930. For you, it'll be squawk code 1221.
Squawk code 1221, and we'd like 2,000 if that works.
2,000, well, that's below the field elevation, but it works for me if it works for you, I guess.
Yeah, sure, Lima, Oscar Lima.
Okay, Lima, Oscar Lima, Roger, 2,000. And advise ready for taxi, it'll be 17 right with information Juliet.
Roger, we'll expect 17 right with Lima, Oscar Lima.
That's what I was looking up. It's CYBA for Banff. And he wanted 2,000, which I'm guessing he means AGL. But anywho. WestJet 9900, welcome to Fort Mac. Right turn on Delta, taxi Juliet to the parking. Have yourself a great day.
Right turn on Delta, Juliet to the gate. WestJet 9900, thank you, sir.
Air Canada 1145, Edmonton, are you back?
And Hotel Fox, yeah, we just remembered that the ground level is 2,500. So if possible, could we get 4,500 for, no, 6,500, sorry, for the cruise altitude.
Hotel Echo Foxtrot, no problem. 6,500 is now set.
Thank you.
Kind of difficult to find the ground. Same for Golf Lima, Oscar Lima. I apologize.
Golf Lima, Oscar Lima, no problem. 6,500 for you as well. All right, there it goes. There's 2,000.
And Hotel Echo Foxtrot, ready for taxi.
Hotel Echo Foxtrot, and you're parked over there on the west apron?
Apron.
Hotel Echo Foxtrot, runway 17 right, information Juliet, altimeter 3003, taxi Alpha, hold short 17 right.
Alpha for 17 right, Hotel Echo Foxtrot, thank you.
Get these two guys at least launched, I guess.
Golf Lima, Oscar Lima is also ready for taxi with Juliet.
All right, Golf Lima, Oscar Lima, I copy that. Keep an eye out for the other TPM. They're also taxiing for 17 right. Information is Juliet, altimeter 3003, taxi Alpha behind the traffic.
Alpha behind the traffic, 117 right, Lima, Oscar Lima.
WestJet 108, descend 10,000, Calgary, altimeter 3003.
Down to 10,000 for WestJet 108.
And Hotel Echo Foxtrot, ready to go.
Hotel Echo Foxtrot, right turnout is approved. Report clearing the zone to the west. The Calgary winds are 150 at 7. Clear for takeoff, runway 17 right.
Clear for takeoff, 17 right, and right-hand turnout, report clearing the zone, Hotel Echo Foxtrot.
All right, I really want to get out of here now. And now you guys don't let me leave. It's always the way it is. I can get 2 VFR departures out as soon as I turn them and just make sure they see each other. That's it. That's all I need. I just need what do I need? I need Air Canada 1145 to come back. That's all I'm waiting for. All right. Now, as soon as these guys are airborne and turned on course, if they're not, if he's not back, I'll just text him.
Holding short 17 right, ready for departure.
Lima, Oscar Lima, line up, runway 17 right.
Line up 17 right, Lima, Oscar Lima.
Fortunately, at least it's TBM, so it's a speedy little aircraft. It's a nice thing about a TBM. Speedy. They'll get going pretty quick westbound. All right. Any second now, he should be airborne. I should see the target.
Edmonton Center, Air Canada 1145 is back.
Air Canada 1145, thank you very much. Contact Winnipeg Center now, 124.0. Have a great rest of the day.
124.0, Air Canada 1145. Have a good night, evening, afternoon.
Whatever time it is here. Lima Oscar Lima Edmonton. Traffic ahead is also in the right turnout. Watch out for them. Report clear in the zone to the west. Right turnout is approved. Winds 130 at 7. Clear for takeoff 17 right.
Clear for takeoff 17 right. We'll keep an eye out for the traffic, right, and we'll report once clearing the zone. Lima Oscar Lima.
Edmonton Center, hello. United 699 is at Calgary with Juliet. Clearance to Denver, please.
United 699 Edmonton, hello. You are cleared to Denver via the Cowboy 2 departure. Radar vectors GAD-key flight plan route. Depart 17 left, squawk code 0155.
All right. United 699 cleared to Denver International via Cowboy 2. Radar vectors to GAD-key. Plan on 17 left and squawk 0155. I think I got everything. United 699.
United 699, that is all correct. The information Calgary is Juliet. Going to be shutting down momentarily, so you can switch to Unicom for the departure. Have yourself a good rest of the day. There is one inbound aircraft to Calgary landing in about 10 to 15 minutes, so keep an eye out for them. They will be landing 17 left as well.
Okay, roger that. We'll monitor Unicom. Have a good afternoon. United 699.
Take care. November 172 Bravo Charlie Edmonton. Going to be shutting down now, so your VFR flight following services are terminated. You can switch back to the en route frequency. Have a good rest of the day.
Roger that. Have a good day as well. 172 Bravo Charlie.
WestJet 108, going to be shutting down here momentarily. Traffic for you. 2 TBMs that just departed Calgary westbound. I think by the time you get onto the downwind, they will be well clear of you. And also one aircraft just got an IFR clearance to depart 17 left. So just keep an eye out for them when you turn final. You can switch to the en route frequency. Surveillance service terminates. Have a great day.
Oh, thanks for the ETC this afternoon. Over to you to come now. WestJet 108, so long.
Take care. And Golf Lima Oscar Lima, do you still have the TBM in sight at your 12 o'clock at 6,500, about 4 miles?
Yes, we do. Lima Oscar Lima.
Lima Oscar Lima, perfect. They're also inbound to Banff, as you're probably aware. So keep an eye out for them. You can switch to the en route frequency. Surveillance service terminates. Have a great day.
Roger, over to Unicom, and thanks for the service today, Lima Oscar Lima.
And Hotel Echo Foxtrot, you're probably aware of it, but you are being chased to Banff by another TBM about 4 to 5 miles in trail. Just keep an eye out for them, and you can switch to the en route frequency. Surveillance service terminates. Have a great day.
Thanks for ATC, yeah, Hotel Echo Foxtrot.
Logan Air 313 Edmonton. Sorry, I can't stay on any longer, but you can switch to the en route frequency. Surveillance service terminates. Have a good rest of your flight.
I will switch to other frequencies. That was an absolute joy listening to your services there. Keep it up. Take care, Logan 313.
Well, thank you very much for that, and hopefully we'll see you again. If anybody else is on the Edmonton Center frequency, Edmonton Center is now closed. Switch to the Unicom 122.8. Good day. All right. Disconnect. Close. Goodbye. Woo, it's done. All right, that was quite a workload. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed that stream as well. It was definitely a lot of fun, and thank you, Icebird, for all, because you really have kind of given me a push to try and get that remote CTU up and working again for my next stream. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Appreciate it. Hope you had fun. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, whatever it is you're doing out there. I'm going to be heading to work in a couple hours, but first I got to sleep. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you guys all out there on the VATSIM skies. Take care.